they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
I was sitting up here talking. I forgot to add myself to the stream. Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake up call. Okay, so here we are, day 5 of Diddy's trial, and it all got real nefarious. And I want to shout out to all of you who tuned in all day yesterday and last night. Okay, I appreciate you. Also, let me shout out Crystal Ford because last night I missed her super chat donation. Okay, I don't know if she's in here, but I'll say it again later just in case. Okay, so with that all been said, listen, today is going to be crazy. I can't I can only imagine what they're going to be asking Cassie for the rest of the cross. Okay, so we're going to get into it. Inner City Press has not posted yet. Okay, so with that all been said, let's talk about some of the stuff that I didn't tell you all last night, because remember, I said there was more, but I had to hurry up and get on here. Also, I think it was Leon. I think it was Leon that said that the officer that was protecting Rodney Hinton got fired. Yes, I heard about that. Actually, my friend Lisa Cabrera told me that last night, that he got fired. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. Okay, Christopher said you was cooking last night. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so let me shout out everybody who's in here. Shout out to all my loyal roads and everyone tuned into the Queen. Hey, Nessie X, I see you, beloved. Christopher, the lovely T. Claudette is here. All right, Leon. All right, Mama Joycelyn, Chosen One, Nicole. Dre Day is here. Okay, let's get into it. Everybody hit that like button. I see you, Desmond. Buckhurst, DC. Okay, Trayvon is here. Terry. Okay, shout out to everyone in chat. Y'all know I love my loyal royals. So let's have a brief word from my sponsor before we get it started. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's go to outside the courthouse while I gather some things to show you all. And I'm going to give you all some more information, like I said, that I didn't get to give you last night, okay?
Ask her follow-up questions, the defense arguing that their cross-examination was delayed because prosecutors called up 2 additional witnesses before Cassie got on the stand to testify. So for now, we're live here in Lower Manhattan. Rosanna, back to you. Yeah, and the judge actually told both parties to come to some sort of agreement. They wanted to get that cross-examination wrapped as quickly as possible by this morning. But now if that continues, she's got to take the weekend. She's got to come back Monday, and that's 3 additional days. With your 3rd child, I'm no pro, I'm no expert, but if she goes into labor early, that can certainly be an issue for the prosecution, being that she is their star witness. I'm no pro. Did you hear that?
I'm no expert. I suck.
I'm no expert on pregnancy. But usually with your later, you go a little earlier sometimes, right? And sometimes with the first,
Yeah,
it takes longer.
Third is like
Boom.
drinking water, get going, man.
Let's do it. You hear these people like, oh, having babies on subways, like, just come out. Oh, wait. No, not that one. Aw, there I am. Thanks, Ralph. Sorry, I've been so busy. I told you it was going to be busy.
Okay, so the judge just took the bench 4 minutes ago. Okay, so they haven't gotten started yet. The judge just took to the bench. But let's talk about this. Why the defense's strategy has been unusual and effective. This is from a legal analysis. Okay, I'm sorry, a legal analyst. And also, last night I watched my video back a little bit this morning. I said that Diddy hit Kerry Morgan with a wooden hammer. It was a wooden hanger. Okay. And hold on, CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig said the defense team's cross-examination strategy for Cassie Ventura has been both unusual and effective. Usually, she says there's a tendency for one defense lawyer or for the defense lawyers to try to destroy the character of a key witness. However, Sean Diddy Combs' legal team has not taken that approach in this federal criminal trial. Well, of course not, because Cassie's pregnant, and I told you all that would look real crazy to the jurists. And of course, they wouldn't like that, like you're badgering a victim who's also a pregnant woman. So they said they didn't take that trial. And then she says, I think they've calculated correctly that she was a credible, sympathetic, likable witness. They're not trying to tear her down. They're basically trying to undermine this notion that she was coerced, using her own words. I think it's a smart tactic, but I should say it reads better on paper than apparently it's playing out in the courtroom. Okay, so, and Honig, who's talking about this, she's a former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. Okay, citing reporters in the room who said the cross-examination felt rather long and repetitive. Now, when asked about text from Ventura agreeing to participate in freak-offs with Combs, Honig said the prosecution's team needs to have her put those texts into context when they get to ask her questions after cross-examination. Well, here's the thing. I'm wondering how they're going to get her to do that when she kept acting as if she didn't remember some of these things, or that she didn't know why these things were said, like it was maybe such a long time ago. She really, in many instances, was like, oh, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're referring to. So I don't know how they're going to get her to put something in context when she clearly couldn't remember, supposedly, what the text messages were about or whatever. So she says, look at this problem for the prosecution. I mean, they have to show beyond a reasonable doubt that she was coerced. And I'm sorry, this is a man, not a woman. His name is Ellie, so I thought he was a woman, but it's a guy. Okay, so anyway, Judge Aaron Subramaniam has told attorneys that he wants to have Cassie Ventura, the ex-girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, one of his accusers, he wants to have her off the stand, and that the defense should finish its cross-examination before lunch. I want y'all to pay attention. So the judge is putting him in a time crunch. He wants her off the stand before lunch. That's because Ventura is heavily pregnant, as prosecutor Maureen Comey put it, could have the baby as soon as over the weekend. No, that's not true. They're really trying to push this just so they can hurry up and get the defense done. Okay, she's not going to have the baby this weekend. She's due in June. All right, she's due in June. So I really doubt that she's going to have this weekend. And here's the thing. Even if she does, isn't that y'all's fault, prosecution? Okay, at the end of the day. So with that all being said, we're going to see how this turns out, because the prosecution today, as far as I'm concerned, has their work cut out for them. Okay, they have their work cut out for them because yesterday the defense just took the lead. Okay, the defense took the lead. So anyway, Alice says it's not what you say, but how you say it. Absolutely, I agree. Okay, so with that all being said, the defense says it's working as quickly as it can through a slew of exhibits, including graphic text messages between Ventura and Combs. Attorney Mark Agnifilo said they do their best to finish the cross-exam in time for lunch, but that he couldn't make any promises. Okay, Subramanian has said that given the prosecution got a day and a half for direct examination, the defense should also take a day and a half for a cross-examination. He noted that he technically has the authority to cut off cross-examination when it's matched the duration of the direct testimony, though he didn't necessarily indicate that he would do so. The judge left open the possibility of granting the defense additional time today for lunch if needed. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson has said she expects to need about an hour of redirect examination with Ventura today whenever the defense is finished. Now, Ventura's answers to questions from both the prosecution and defense are getting up the more fleshed out arguments that lawyers from each side will make over the next several weeks of Combs' trial. Okay, once she's done, the testimony will be bolstered by expert witnesses from each side. Okay, consultant Richard Gabriel from CNN, this is what he's saying. And then next, the lawyers will take what Ventura said on the stand and argue how it applies to actual legal statutes. Okay, so today will be the fourth day of her testifying. Okay, so let's get ready for it. I'm ready. How about y'all? Okay, so let me see what Inner City Press. Okay, they still don't have anything posted. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking with grease. I'm going to go to this.
(16th, 2025). We're heading back into the third day of Cassandra Ventura on the stand in the U.S. versus Sean Combs criminal trial. Yesterday, the cross-examination yesterday was kind of meandering. It sort of jumped all over the place. It definitely was trying to score some points and make her read embarrassing texts from 2000 and whatever, professions of love, expressions about drugs. What it accomplished, we're not sure. But Judge Subramanian has said that it must wrap up today by noon to allow time for some redirect. Maybe there'll be recross. Nobody knows. But it'll be done. She'll be done. She'll be done this week. Sorry for all these ambient sounds. And Dawn is going to be the next witness. So the trial is really coming along. I will say that this problem yesterday, right after we filmed this vlog, there was a discussion among counsel about the various things they'd submitted to the court overnight, none of which were in the docket. So we've tried to take some action on that and hope to have an update on that soon. And because you can never get enough Diddy, in one of the many civil cases against him here in the Southern District, it was initially called John Doe versus Sean Combs. Now it's called Anthony Tate versus Sean Combs. It involves a party in Miami, drugged drinks. Anthony Tate gave his name to have the case go on. Judge Kaplan ruled that a pseudonym would not work. He gave his name, but now the Sure Tremonti lawyers for Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records et al. Are trying to get the case dismissed, saying that Tate is a Florida resident and that the alleged assault, which was quite an assault, and it's the kind of thing that's not really coming up so far in this criminal trial, that the alleged assault was in Florida, therefore the New York State statute they're trying to cite in New York State federal court is not applicable. So we're covering all of those cases, but that's one of them. What more can we say? On the crypto beat and on the sort of bureaucracy beat, Roman Storm of Tornado Cash, a crypto mixer, his case hasn't been dropped yet. I'm predicting that it will be, I think. But as it moves toward trial, his lawyers have written in, asking, supposedly probation said he needs a letter from the court to get a real ID. Now, when you're out on pretrial release, you're not supposed to apply for new travel documents. Turn in your passport, no travel documents. But I didn't know that a driver's license in and of itself is considered a travel document. I guess it is. What about a Metro card? That's how you get on the subway here in New York, pending a new system they're coming in. There's more to be said. Mr. Colfage of We Build the Wall, the government even said he should get out on medical grounds. But the judge, in fact, has some questions whether the services have been sufficient. So that's something. We cover the UN.
Okay, so we have our first update. Let's get into it. Okay, U.S. versus Sean Combs. The judge says the government has said the defense's cross-examination can go until 4:30 p.m. today, and they'll limit themselves to 30 minutes of redirect. Okay, Combs' attorney, Ana Maria Estavio, says, we have evidentiary issues. The judge says, tell me about them. Should have been in writing. Okay, so what kind of evidentiary issues are they having? I'm wondering. Y'all, what's really going on? We're going to hear it all. Okay, so they're going to have until 4:30 to get the cross-examination done. That's better because lunchtime, I don't think that would have been enough time, but that's just me. Okay, so now listen, while we're waiting for more updates, I'm going to show you all some clips of videos posted by the Shade Room from yesterday. Let's start with Cassie's attorney, Mr. Douglas Wigder, when people are asking him questions as he's leaving the courthouse. Okay, here we go. Hey, grave diggers. All right, here we go. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now, just so I don't have any copyright issues, I'm going to put a sheer overlay on this because you never know. Because sometimes I think the Shade Room also has a YouTube channel, and I'm not sure if they posted these clips on their YouTube channel, which they probably did 9 times out of the 10. So I'm going to put a little overlay on here. You all can still see it pretty good. So.
Cassie is doing a great job on cross-examination. It's a very long cross-examination. Hopefully it ends tomorrow, and so she can be done by the end of the week and put this entire chapter of her life behind her.
How's she holding up in the pregnancy?
She's doing as best as she can. She's obviously, tired as you would expect, but she's holding up great.
What about
Real
Alex?
tribute to her.
How do you feel like how they're flipping the script with the prompts?
I don't think they're flipping any script. It just seems they're reconfirming the direct. Yeah, look, I don't know that. I don't think there's a legal defense to this case based on his drug use. So I'm not really sure what
Diddy
that's all
seems
about.
a little more excited today, though. Like they had a win today.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it's not really up to what Diddy's team thinks. It's not up to what I think. Actually, it's what the jury thinks. And,
Do you think Diddy feels any shame at all?
I don't know what he's
I heard
thinking.
Cassie, I saw Cassie touching her back and stretching and drinking lots of water. Do you think that the stress could possibly induce her to go in sooner?
I'm not a doctor. I'm just a lawyer. I have no idea. I hope
Does she
not.
seem
that's for
okay
sure.
when you were speaking to her?
She seems great to me. She seems great.
Any word on how her husband is currently feeling?
I mean, I said it yesterday. If you were in his shoes, I think, this is difficult for him to watch, but he's holding up great.
What about the whole Suge Knight thing? Her saying that Diddy and his friends went without her and then they brought it back that she said she went with them. Can that be happening in a
I think that's just a minor point that unfortunately somebody got wrong when she was being interviewed. She didn't review those notes or anything like that. I think her testimony, the one thing about her testimony really is there's no credibility issues with her. The facts are the facts. She's telling them as they are, her truth, and they are what they are. This is not a typical cross-examination. There's no issues with her credibility.
What about the age? You talked about her credibility, right? Yeah. I feel like yesterday made her seem, we empathized with her yesterday. Today, we're seeing that there may have been almost like a motive to her anger, her upset, which resulted in.
Now I want you all to listen because I can tell this voice right here. I heard Armand Wiggins' voice. I heard Armand because I know his voice. I also hear Lauren from Breakfast Club. And speaking of that, we're going to go to the Breakfast Club after I finish showing these clips so we can hear what Lauren has to say about all of this. But this sounds like Lauren speaking.
In the lawsuit and where we are today.
No, I mean, the facts are the facts, the text are the text. The facts are the facts, the text are the text. And I think that the evidence will be clear as the case goes on and Cassie's testimony goes on, and we'll see what the jury does. So, okay, I have to go. I'm sorry. I think that Cassie is doing a great job on cross-examination. It's a very long cross-examination. Hopefully it ends tomorrow, and so she can be done by the end of the week and put this entire chapter of her life behind her.
How's she holding up in the pregnancy?
She's doing as best as she can. She's obviously.
I want you all to pay attention to how her lawyer, listen to what her lawyer just said when Lauren asked him about Cassie lying on the stand, because she did lie. They caught her in a lie early on. Do you all remember the lie that they caught her in? And I didn't even point this out last night because it slipped my mind. Okay, here's what she lied about. Remember when they asked her about the Suge Knight story? And she said, oh, I was crying and I was forced into a car. That's what she told the prosecution upon direct examination. She said that she was crying and basically like they forced her to get in that car. And so then when they brought up that she said something different, they were like, well, you said X, Y, and Z. And I don't remember exactly what she said. They told her that basically she said that she went with them or something like that. Didn't say anything about being forced, basically. And she said, I don't remember saying that. And then they showed her that this is what you said when you were interviewed by the prosecution. Okay. So you lied. That's what you did. Now, her attorney would have us believe that she didn't lie, that somebody in the prosecution's office got it wrong, that they messed up the notes. Now, if we could use that excuse for everybody's credibility, that would be great, right? We could just say that nobody's lying. The prosecution or whoever took the notes or the initial interviews, well, they just got it wrong. No, sir, they didn't get it wrong. Unfortunately, Cassie lied. That's what she did. Now, I hate to say it, but that's just what it is. Okay, so but let's continue. Meanwhile, as you all are watching the next clip, I'll be looking for the updates. Now, this is Justin Carter. He's going to describe the moment in court where Cassie and Diddy saw each other for the first time in 6 years. Now, I don't know who Justin Carter is. This is just posted on Shade Room. I think he may be a journalist 9 times out of 10. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
In there. Of course, Cassie Ventura is one of the key witnesses, the star witnesses for the prosecution here in New York City, in Manhattan, in the courtroom. And yeah, I mean, it was the day of all days. They really needed to key in on Cassie's involvement with all of this, because if you look at the indictment, the original indictment, it's all about freak-offs and how Sean Combs set up this big enterprise, this big sex trafficking enterprise, paying people, transporting escorts to have sex with Cassie. I mean, it was explosive. It was disgusting to hear the allegations, and really Cassie had to get into it all. And it was the first time in 6 years that they had seen each other. So really it was something to see. I mean, they haven't seen each other since Kim Porter's funeral.
Oh, wow.
And for Diddy to see her for the first time, it was just all very interesting. He's stoic. He's not doing much. He's listening. So are his family and friends. So it's really interesting to see. Explosive in there. Of course, Cassie Ventura is one of the key witnesses, the star witnesses.
Okay. Let's go to another. This is Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, leaving court yesterday. Poor Alex. I really hate that he had to hear all that stuff yesterday, because I don't think he knew half of it. I don't think he knew those things were happening. And I believe today they're going to talk about how Cassie was cheating on Diddy with Alex. Remember, he's the trainer that Diddy hired for both of them, specifically her. Okay, now they've already established a pattern. I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but they already established a pattern that Cassie is somebody who cheats. You know, they pointed out how she was dating Ryan Leslie and then cheated on him with Diddy, and then cheated on Diddy with Kid Cudi, was dating Kid Cudi and was going back to Diddy for freak-offs, went out with Michael B. Jordan, then was back with Diddy. Then Diddy introduced her to the trainer, Alex Fine, who's now her husband. She was cheating on Diddy with him, supposedly. These things are supposed to come out today. Now, here's an update. Defense asked to show Ventura video of Combs talking about God. The defense wants to show Cassie Ventura in a video with Sean Combs on a hike in the woods talking about God. Combs sent her the video from rehab 1 month after the 2016 altercation at the Intercontinental Hotel. He sent her this from rehab. So he wasn't lying in that apology video when he said he was in a dark place and that he had to get rehab. Please pay attention. Okay, now I see why he likely did that apology video. Okay, Judge Aaron Subramaniam said Ventura could review the video, but it could not be submitted in evidence for the jury. He reviewed the video in the courtroom, but only the audio, only the audio could be heard in court. Just keeping you posted, because as I grow, I want you to grow. This is what Diddy was saying to Cassie. Just keeping you posted, because as I grow, I want you to grow. I want you to know I'm growing, and I want you to grow with me. That's what you hear Diddy saying on the video. You know, these people sound like they were two addicts who did love each other, but the use of the illegal substances and the anger that they had when they tried to stop using these substances got them into volatile, toxic situations filled with anger, rage, and violence. And it's almost, well, I'm not gonna say it's almost, it is sad. It's sad that two people who had everything going for them, that this is what they reduced themselves to, using all of these illegal substances and just being stoned out of their minds, engaging all these in these illicit, nefarious acts. I mean, it's really sad as far as I'm concerned. Okay, her attorney doesn't seem confident that they will prove their case. I thought he would sound more confident. He didn't sound confident to me either. He sounded like I don't know. He didn't sound confident to me either. That's my whole thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go to another one of these clips. This is Alex Fine leaving court yesterday. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you, beloveds. I appreciate you.
How are you feeling after today? I think that this might be just going to go into the earlier. How are you feeling after today? How come I don't see him? Where is he? How are you feeling after today? I think that this might be just going to go into the earlier.
I mean, I feel bad for her husband because I really believe that some of the things that came out in court yesterday, he probably had no idea about. Now, here is a video of Diddy's sons and mother leaving the courthouse for lunch break on yesterday.
Taking that man's freedom away. No, the girls didn't come. No, it was too much for the girls. Free puff. Taking that man's freedom away. All the girls didn't come tonight? No, the girls didn't come. No, it was too much for the girls.
I'm glad his daughters didn't come. I really don't think they need to be hearing these things. I hate the sons even have to hear it, but specifically the daughters don't need to hear that as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so here is a couple of more updates. Ventura's back on the stand and the jury is entering. Cassie Ventura will take the stand today during what's expected to be the last opportunity Sean Diddy Combs' defense lawyers have to cross-examine the prosecution's star witness. The prosecution team will have the opportunity to question Ventura again on redirect, and its strategy will depend on how effective it feels cross-examination went, according to former federal prosecutor and CNN analyst Jennifer Rogers. She says the most effective redirect in the world is to stand up and say, I have no further questions for this witness. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. The most effective redirect is to stand up and say, I have no further questions for this witness. Well, I guarantee you the prosecution's not going to say that. You know why they're not going to say that? Because in my opinion, yesterday was so damaging to their star witness. They're going to have to go back over the things that she was asked about by the defense yesterday, and they're going to have to try to reiterate or try to get her to give some context, you know, to make it, just to make the things that she admitted to basically give some sort of an explanation for it. That's the best they can hope for. Okay, that's what they're going to have to do. So anyway, she says, she adds that if the defense haven't made any direct hits, then you don't need to rehabilitate her. And this is true. See, they did make direct hits. They absolutely did. So they're going to have to go back in and try to clean this all up. And they've got their work cut out for them. And they need to get it right today. Because Diddy, you need to go to prison. Okay? Like I said, hashtag justice for Tupac is all I'm saying. Now, this will be the last chance Combs' defense has and all of this. Okay, so hold on. She says, so what over those 10 years can he use and his team use to try to get her to admit something or to undercut her credibility or the story that she's told? Rogers added that she thinks that because of this, prosecutors may still be on the edge of their seats, waiting to see if a surprise comes out today. Well, they better hope not. Now, she's been on the stand for 2 minutes thus far. Okay, let me go to my other source from Inner City Press and see what they have up here. Okay, still waiting on them. Last they talked about on the Inner City Press was the evidentiary issues that they're supposedly having, which the judge told them should have been in writing. And let me just tell you all, I'm going to read to you all some more of the stuff that I didn't get to tell you last night. I will say this, my source that's inside the court also said that one thing the prosecution is doing that's not a good look for them, and keep in mind, this person is an attorney. They said that the prosecution keeps showing that video over and over and over. The video with Diddy beating Cassie. Okay. Queen Sam said, y'all, I've tried to unsubscribe and resubscribe, but I'm still not able to get notifications from the Queen. I'm sick of screwtube. Queen Sam, beloved, listen, I appreciate you, but here's all you have to do. Send me an email. Okay. Send me an email to the root of all evil.com. No, I'm sorry, the root of all evil 227 at gmail.com. Send me an email there, the root of all evil 227 at gmail.com, and make sure you put Queen Sam if you have a different email name, so I know it's you. And then I'll send you the link in the mornings like I send some other people, okay? That's what I can do. And if anybody else is having an issue with getting notifications, you can do the same. I'm going to get this service that I used to have where you all can text royals, okay, to this 1-800 number, and then I can literally text you the links to your phones. I'm going to have to get that service back because YouTube plays too much. Okay, so anyway, while we're waiting on more updates, I'm going to read you all some more of the notes I took from my source that was right there in the courtroom on yesterday. Okay, beloved, I got you. Okay, I'm going to read you all some more information that I wrote down that we didn't go over last night. If you missed what we talked about last night, you want to catch up on that, it's about a 40-minute video, and it's the last one I posted yesterday. Okay. Okay, hold on, beloved. Okay, so I think the last I left off on the video last night was I told you all where she kept saying, I need your D. Okay, I'm bored. And then Diddy didn't respond quick enough. And she says, she texts him again saying, hello, I'm orny with an H. But here's something else I wanted to point out that was inconsistent with Cassie. This is something else I noticed. Do you all remember when Cassie said yesterday, or maybe not yesterday, but the day that she was being examined by the prosecution? Do you all remember that she specifically said that she didn't like kissing the S workers? Do y'all remember that? Once in the chat, if you remember Cassie saying that she didn't like kissing those S workers and that in fact Diddy would make her kiss them. Once in the chat, if you all remember that part of her testimony. I think it's when she was talking to the prosecution. Here's the reason that's important. Because did you all notice, because I just thought about this last night. Okay, you all are pretty ones, you remember. Okay, so now think about this. Daniel Phillip, the S worker who testified, he said that, remember the time when he was talking about Diddy and Cassie getting into a fight, or he said he heard Diddy slapping Cassie, and he said that Cassie ran into the living room where he was, hopped in his lap, and she didn't have on any clothes. Remember how he said they started kissing? Now, Diddy didn't make her kiss him. She was kissing because she wanted to, apparently, according to him at least. And then, remember, he said they were about to get into the do. But then he looked and he saw Diddy peeking around the corner. So then he couldn't even do it. I just thought I'd point that out because that's another inconsistent part of the story. Okay, so listen to this. Cassie acted like she was clueless about many of the text messages when Astavio questioned her, but her memory was fine when the prosecution questioned her. Did y'all notice that? Remember when the prosecution was asking her all those questions, she never said she didn't remember anything that I can recall. If I forgot something, let me know in the chat, please correct me. But I don't recall her telling the prosecution during their exam of her, when they were reading her text messages, it seemed like she remembered every text message and she responded to it. But when the defense starts showing her text messages that directly contradict stuff that she told the prosecution, then no, Heavy Bear, it wasn't kiss or get beat. She was already being beat. She ran to the S worker because of the beating. Okay? That's how that went. She was already getting beat. So that's not why she kissed him. So anyway, with that all being said, here's the thing. If you remember, there was a lot of things that she kept saying she didn't know. I don't know what pills you're talking about. Remember, they showed her the text message I told you last night when she was telling Diddy how much she wanted to put the big D in her mouth and hit the back of her throat so she could choke and all of that stuff. Okay? And then she was talking about how she loved having these freak-offs and all this stuff. Okay? But and then at one point she says, you got any more pills? You got any more of those pills? And when the defense, Astavio, asked her, what pills were you talking about? She was like, I don't know. Could have been any pills. I don't know what you're referring to. How do you not know what pills that she's talking about? How many pills were you taking? Or do you really remember, but you just don't want to say? I just had questions about that. So anyway, Astavio said it was a long time ago, and you were doing lots of rugs with a D, right? And you were high. I get it. That's what Astavio told her. Okay, so then there was a text message where Diddy says to Cassie, hey, let's do something different. Let's go see a Broadway play. Because remember, she said she was only having a freak-offs. Now, what she told the prosecution was she was only having the freak-offs because that was the only time she got to spend time with Diddy. So Diddy says, hey, let's do something different today. Let's go see a Broadway play. Then he says, Dave, the escort, hit me up. Then Cassie responds saying, well, Daniel hit me up. Daniel Phillip, that's the one that testified days ago. She said, Daniel hit me up. Now, remember, Daniel said that he and Cassie exchanged phone numbers. He also said Cassie was the one setting everything up, and Cassie was the one who told him to give her the golden shower. But Cassie said Diddy told him to give her the golden shower. So somebody's not telling the truth there. Okay, so Cassie says, oh, Daniel hit me up. Okay. With that all being said, and remember, he said that he thought he and Cassie had a rapport, basically like they were friends. That's what the S worker said. Okay, so then Diddy told Cassie, make the New York decision. Should I come to New York? He left it up to her. See, Diddy wanted to go to the Broadway play at first and do something different, but then he told her that Dave, the escort, hit him up, and she says, well, Daniel hit me up. So then Diddy says, well, you make the decision. You make the New York decision. You want me to come to New York? She didn't respond right away. Then Diddy says, why aren't you texting me back? Cassie says, oh, I was at the studio. Then she says, can you come home? Diddy says, I'm orny with an H for that. Okay. Then he says, he gets to New York, and then he says, are you here yet? Daddy's home. Cassie says, I got the stuff. I got the stuff. So what does that tell you that Cassie decided to do? She decided to have a freak off rather than go see a Broadway play. So I just want you all to pay attention to this, because who's making these freak offs? She said Diddy made her do these freak offs. That's what she told the prosecution. She said Diddy made her do all of these freak offs. She never wanted to do them. It was disgusting. She was humiliated. This is what she said. But time and time again, they're proving that she was initiating these freak offs. A lot of the time. This is absolutely appalling to me because on the first day that she testified to the prosecution, I was feeling so sad, so sorry, so disgusted with Diddy that he could have the nerve to treat anybody like this, making somebody, give her golden showers down her throat, because that's what the prosecution led with. Remember, you'll hear how Sean Diddy Combs made S workers, or however they put it, I'm paraphrasing, okay, down her throat, and she was choking. But then they show text messages where she says, I want to have that all at the back of my throat until I choke out. So you want to choke? This is all crazy. Okay. Now, so anyway, she says, I got the stuff. Then Cassie is visibly upset on the stand. That's what my source told me, that when they brought that up, proving that she was the one again who initiated the FO. And also, it's not that you couldn't do anything else with Diddy, because he was asking you to go to a whole play. And who wouldn't want to go to a Broadway play, by the way? So they said Cassie visibly got upset on the stand and says, wait a minute. This is what she says on the stand yesterday. Wait a minute. Do I have a say-so in this? Okay, because we're skipping over stuff. But I thought she couldn't remember the text messages. So what are they skipping over? Because previously you kept saying you don't remember this, you don't remember that. I don't know what you're referring to. But now you say they're skipping over stuff. When they say something that makes you really uncomfortable and proves that you're not telling the truth. Now, I just want y'all to know, I'm not going in on Cassie, but I'm upset that Cassie is telling inconsistent stories because this is helping Diddy. This is helping Diddy. Okay? So with that all being said, Nicole says, watch HBO offer a movie deal to Cassie. She's not stupid. She's playing the game how she was taught. Well, whatever she's doing, she's helping Diddy, and that's getting on my damn nerves. Okay, so anyway, let me keep going. The defense then says they pull up more text messages. Here's one where Cassie says, I miss you. I miss that D. You want to have a freak off? You orny with an H? Are you sleepy? To which Diddy says, I'm both. Diddy says, I thought you wanted to do it tomorrow. I thought you wanted to do it tomorrow. She's asking Diddy for another FO. He's not asking her again. And he's acting like he don't even really want to do it. She says, are you orny with an H or sleepy? He says, I'm both. I thought you wanted to do it tomorrow. Okay. The defense says, so you brought up the FO. That's what they say. Cassie says, well, yeah. She admits it. Well, yeah. I'm sorry, but this is given. I'll be your freakazoid. Come on and wind me up. That's what it's given. Okay, now, y'all remember that song? Then Cassie says, I'm going to the pool. I wish we could have had a freak off before you left. That's what she tells Diddy. I wish we could have had a freak off before you left. And then she says, you're not Bruce Willis. I don't know what that means. Then she says, I'm irritated because I'm looking like a side chick. I thought I was number one and Kim was number two. And this is also when Gina was in the mix and she was mad about it. The defense says, how did you meet Kid Cudi? Now I want y'all to listen to this because this is all nefarious. Keep in mind that the defense has already established that Cassie lied, just like I told you days ago. I pointed it out first, that Cassie lied when she said Diddy was her first. Because see, Cassie was trying to make it like Diddy was grooming her. That's what it sounded like to me when she said stuff like she didn't know anything about oral till she met Diddy. Diddy was her first adult relationship. Remember how I told you that Ryan Leslie was with her for 3 years before she met Diddy? He was a whole grown man, almost a decade older than her. So that was your first adult relationship, I would imagine. And then she tried to discount the relationship when they pointed out that she was cheating on Ryan Leslie with Diddy, and even went so far as to make up a fake flyer so she could lie and tell Ryan Leslie she was going to New York to do it. I mean, going to Miami to do a show, but she was really going there to be with Diddy. He was flying her out. And then when they asked her about that, they said your relationship with Diddy was complicated, right? It was always complicated. And then they said, why was it complicated? And she was like, I don't know. And then they said, was it because Ryan Leslie, you were dating him and you were cheating on him, having an affair with Diddy? She said, I guess. Or she said something like that, like, yeah, I guess. So they already have proven that she cheated on Ryan with Diddy. Now they're going to prove that she cheated on Diddy with Kid Cudi. Now listen to this. Defense Estavio says, how did you meet Kid Cudi? Or, Miss Scuddy, that's his name, Mr. Miss Scuddy, whatever. I just call him Kid Cudi. Okay. Cassie said, Diddy introduced me to him at the studio. Say what now? That's when I was like, say what now? Diddy introduced you to him at the studio. So Diddy was paying for studio time for you to do a show, or not a show, but do a production or a song or whatever with this guy, for you to collab with him, and y'all start messing around. Now you see why Diddy was so damn mad and told her he's going to blow up that car, and clearly blew it up because the car blew up. So not that that's an excuse for him blowing up the car, but I'm just showing that the defense has already started establishing a pattern of her lying and cheating. So they said, she even went and got a burner phone. Why did she get the burner phone? They proved that she got the burner phone so she could talk to Kid Cudi without Diddy finding out, because Diddy goes through her phone. So she goes and gets a prepaid burner phone. So Diddy doesn't know she's contacting this dude about other stuff, that she's having relations with him. Now, here's the thing. She had the burner phone, but remember, she did say she was sneaky. They proved that yesterday, remember? And she said she didn't remember why she said she was sneaky, but she wrote Diddy a letter saying, I'm sneaky. I'm not a good person. I'm just glad that you love me. I feel like I move on too quickly. Remember that? Okay, so anyway, she gets this burner phone. She's talking to Kid Cudi, seeing him for about a month, I think. Then she says her and Diddy went on a break. And she starts dealing with Kid Cudi for like maybe 3 months. Don't quote me on the time. It was some months. Okay, but at the time she's supposed to be dating Kid Cudi, she's still going and doing freak-offs with Diddy. She's still doing freak-offs with Diddy. So how this all comes to a head and Diddy finds out about Kid Cudi is that during one of their freak-offs, Diddy goes through her phone. Because obviously this is something they both do, is go through each other's phones. Because the night at the hotel fight, they said Cassie went through Diddy's phone. And also, just for those of you who missed the broadcast last night, they said that Cassie was the one who set up that freak off. Remember the freak off that the prosecution is suggesting she didn't ever want to do, and Diddy made her do it? Well, Cassie set that up. March 3rd, she texts Diddy talking about the freak off. They showed the exhibits. So she basically got found out with the Kid Cudi situation because Diddy went through her phone during the freak off. He saw that she'd been texting Capricorn Clark. That's Lauren London's sister that I told you all that her boyfriend, her ex, said that she's supposed to testify to at some point. But says that Capricorn, his assistant, she had texted Capricorn about some pictures. And I guess it was some pictures that Kid Cudi had, maybe of him and Cassie, I guess. But she had texted Capricorn about it in her regular phone. So Diddy saw it. That's when Diddy charged at her with a corkscrew. He was so livid. Remember how she said Diddy came at her with a corkscrew? That's the day he did it, when he found that in her phone. So she had already started sleeping with Kid Cudi at this time. She did admit to being sneaky and moving on quickly and all of that. Now, she went back to Diddy. Okay, then Diddy hires her trainer. Who's the trainer? Well, it's Alex Fine. her husband. Okay. Diddy then found out about her and Alex. And here's the thing, when her and Diddy supposedly got back together, anytime Diddy would get mad at her, he would constantly bring up Kid Cudi and the fact that she slept with him. But in her mind, she was getting back at Diddy for sleeping with Gina Hunt, because Diddy kept cheating on her with Gina. And she said she was very jealous of Kim Porter and Gina. She was also very upset. See, they started painting her as a scorned woman, because it seems like she was fine with the freak offs as long as Diddy was with her. But then she said Diddy started treating her like she was number two. She thought she was number one and Kim was number two. And then Gina comes into the picture and she said Kim's getting all the holidays, basically. He's spending holidays with Kim and his kids. Okay. And she wanted that time to be spent with her. She said she was in love with him and she wanted to be number one. She wanted to be his woman. She wanted him spending those holidays with her. She wanted to get to be around his kids. He wasn't letting any of that happen and he wasn't spending holidays with her. Now, with that all being said, when Diddy found out what happened with the Kid Cudi situation, he kicked her in the back. Okay. Hold on, let me go to these last updates. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Okay, defense attorney Ana Estavio is picking back up where she left off on yesterday, questioning Cassie Ventura about Sean Diddy Combs' rug use around the time of the Intercontinental altercation in March of 2016. Okay. Remember, I told you all on yesterday that it also came out that Diddy actually had an overdose in 2012. So they were seriously on these illegal substances. And also don't forget that I let you all hear the interview with Jonathan Oddie the other day, the new interview that he did with News Nation. And Jonathan Oddie said that Cassie had passed out, I think it was 2014. And then he started recording stuff because he said if anybody died taking all these rugs during the freak-offs, he didn't want to be blamed or held responsible for any of it. Okay, so they were both desperately on these illegal substances. Now, she goes back to the incident at the hotel. Estavio asked Ventura if Ventura told investigators in previous interviews that Combs was blacked out during the incident. Ventura said, I believe he was intoxicated, and said everyone's perception of a blackout is different. Okay. The jury just saw a message Cassie Ventura sent to her former boyfriend, Sean Diddy Combs, on March the 10th of 2016. This is days after the hotel incident, in which she describes the abuse. And she says to him, when you get effed up the wrong way, you always want to show me that you have the power and you knock me around. I'm not a rag doll. I'm someone's child. Y'all remember that because that was in her lawsuit. I remember reading that. Okay, the jury saw messages between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs from a couple of days after the Intercontinental Hotel altercation. In the messages, Combs expressed desire to engage sexually with Ventura. Under cross-examination, Ventura confirmed that she thought it was a little strange that he would be suggesting something sexual after what happened at the hotel. She says, I felt that way from Friday, the day of the altercation. This is what Combs wrote. What are you doing? Not a good vibe. We need a different vibe than Friday. That's what she says. Then Diddy writes, Uck Friday, LOL. I don't even want to do that again. Then she says, LOL, true. They're both laughing. He just beat the crap out of her. They were both geeked up off of rugs with a D. And they're both laughing, talking about LOL days later with lumps on your head. This is all nefarious. In the following messages, Combs referenced a card and told Ventura that he loved her. She says, love you. Okay. Hey, Baba Rashawn Live. Thank you for tuning in, beloved. Okay, so this is all a weird relationship, weird dynamic. Okay, so now with that all being said, the defense says, this is from yesterday. The defense says, you were jealous. You were upset because he didn't make you his girlfriend. You never got holidays. You didn't get Christmas, huh? Cassie says, no, I didn't. He didn't. I never got that. And Cassie was looking real forlorn, according to my source. She was looking so sad, like it still hurt, which makes me think that maybe she still feels a little something for Diddy. No, I never got that. And you didn't get to be with his kids. Cassie says, no, I never got that. Looking really sad. I do feel bad for Cassie, but I wish that she would just keep it a buck and tell the whole truth so this doesn't come back to help Diddy get off. And then Estavio says, what did you do? Cassie says, I was in Africa for 2 months filming Honey 3. So I just focused on that. While in Africa, though, here's what happened. Somebody sent her a picture of Diddy and Gina Hun. Now that was Cassie's arch rival. That's who her and Diddy were constantly arguing about. She hated Gina. Diddy had been lying, saying that he was done with Gina, that they were through. But got with her the first chance he got when Cassie went out of town, when she was going out of the country. Cassie said, I was supposed to be number 1. Kim was supposed to be number 2. The defense says, what did you do? Who were you dealing with? What celebrities did he suspect that you were dealing with? Cassie said, Michael B. Jordan. And this also explains, please pay attention, when they said previously that Cassie spent New Year's Eve with Michael B. Jordan and Diddy got mad. The likely reason she spent New Year's Eve with Michael B. Jordan is because Diddy was spending it with Kim. Okay, she said she didn't get holidays. So it looks like Diddy wanted to have his cake and eat it too, really. But the sad thing is, Cassie was the one slicing the cake and handing it to him. Just my opinion. Freak-offs were their escape. They would experiment with numerous rugs. This is what Cassie says. They would experience with numerous rugs. The friends around them did rugs too. Their nicknames for each other were Get High Partners. You know what this sounds like to me? Do you all remember a movie? I want to say it was a movie with Robert De Niro, where there was a man who was cheating on his wife, and somebody asked him something about it, and then he said something like, you know, because he was the person he was cheating with, he was getting him to do all the freaky stuff, not his wife. And then so I think somebody asked him about it or whatever. I don't remember why he was talking about it necessarily, but he said, my wife has to kiss our kids with that mouth. That's what he said. My wife has to kiss our kids with that mouth. So basically, like, he didn't want her doing anything nasty or freaky because that's the mouth she kisses her kids with. So I'm not going to get my wife to do it. I'm going to go over here and get them to do it. That's what Diddy was doing to Cassie, in my opinion. She was a good time girl. She was the fun girl. She was the jump off. He may have cared about her. I don't know. But at the end of the day, she says she believes that Diddy loved her and she loved him. But the bottom line is, I feel like Diddy was using Cassie to do all this stuff because he knew darn well he couldn't do that stuff with Kim. And I don't even think he would have wanted Kim to be doing all that stuff, perhaps. Okay, TFL co-founder Dwayne Holloway says probably Casino. I think that is it, beloved. Thank you. I think that is the movie. Okay. Sheila says, I forgot the name of the movie, and it also had Al Pacino in it. Okay, so now I'm thinking maybe it was Heat, because Robert De Niro and Al Pacino both played in Heat. So it's one of those two, definitely. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about hanging the person over the balcony. Y'all remember that, right? Rhoda said, your lips are beautiful. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, so now remember when they were hanging the person over the balcony, one of her friends, Bangalan. I think that was her name, Bangalan. So the victim here's the reason Diddy got mad and supposedly hung her over the balcony. Now, mind you, this is no excuse, but this is more context to what actually happened. Because we previously thought that Diddy jumped on Cassie or something and then was beating her up maybe, and then the girl tried to stop. I think that's what first was reported. But come to find out, Diddy got upset because he found out that Cassie was doing rugs with this person. and lost it. But here's the thing. Remember I told you that Diddy he didn't want Cassie doing these rugs with anyone else. He didn't want her doing it with friends. He didn't want her doing it by herself or any of these things. And he even told the LA rug dealers not to deal to her. But they did anyway, according to Cassie. And Cassie also said that Diddy didn't know the extent of her rug problem because she was actually stealing his rugs. So it was really pretty bad. She was stealing the rugs from Diddy. This is how you know. And then Diddy would see the rugs missing and think that she took them, and that would cause a fight. This is why they were fighting back and forth, like two crackheads. Have you all ever seen videos of crackheads on the street arguing? Because somebody did more of the rugs than the other one? That's what they were acting like. They both had it bad. So anyway, Cassie said that Diddy told the LA rug dealers not to sell to her, but they did so anyway. And she hid the rugs from Diddy. She would hide the rugs from Diddy. So Diddy didn't even know she was doing all of this. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. In my opinion, this is making it look good for Diddy, because it almost seems to me like, was Diddy trying to protect her? Did he want to, was he concerned about her? You know what I'm saying? This is all interesting. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to something somebody said in the chat. Goddess J. Reed says, I believe two things can exist at once. I believe she didn't like kissing, but I feel fear, rugs, and patterns of what she had to do made her do that. Okay, that's your opinion. Okay, Jay Gray says, Queen, not to change the subject, but what's up with Hakeem Jeffries' communist freak-off Diddy party that came up yesterday? I don't know anything about Hakeem Jeffries and a freak-off, beloved. I'll have to look into that later. Heavy Bear says, Cassie was a lovesick young woman who was a heavy rug user and had brain damage. I believe that Cassie believes she's being 100% factual. No, she doesn't. She knows she's lying. Okay, and she doesn't have brain damage either, by the way. If she had brain damage, you don't think that would have been diagnosed by now? She's had 2 children and pregnant with a third. Okay, when you're going to the doctor on a regular basis, especially when you're pregnant, you don't think something like that would have been picked up? She doesn't have brain issues. I'm sure the prosecution would definitely have gotten that checked out if she did. Another thing is, she knows she's lying. Okay, let's just accept the fact. Okay, let's accept the fact. She knows she's lying. Here's how you know she knows she's lying. Because anytime the defense caught her in a lie, she would act like she didn't know what they were talking about. I don't remember. Who wrote that? I never said that. And then even her lawyer is sitting there lying for her, saying, oh, she didn't say anything. Basically, the prosecution got it wrong. Somebody took the wrong notes. Nobody took the wrong notes. I'm here to tell you, like it or not, this is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So if anybody's in the chat right now that thinks I'm going to, or you want me to go along with your narrative, you might as well go watch another broadcast, because I'm going to keep it a buck. See, here's the thing. At the end of the day, these were 2 toxic rug addicts, okay, who would fight over their rugs. You can't put anything past either of them, okay? That's what you can't do. We already know that Cassie was lying when she said all that stuff about Diddy being the first person to tell her about fellatio, Diddy being the first adult relationship. They already got her cold dead to right there. When she said, when they asked her about the overlap between Ryan Leslie and Diddy, that she was having an affair on him, she says, oh, that didn't even last that long. She tried to brush it off. But the problem with that is the defense comes back, Estavio, and says, it lasted 3 years and you got his name tattooed on you. So let's not try to just brush it off. It's basically what she's saying. You were in a whole relationship with this man, but yet you said after Diddy kissed you on your 21st birthday, you quickly fell in love with him, but you were still with Ryan Leslie. So I think they've already established a pattern. And she said herself in the text messages, I'm not a nice person. I'm not a good person. I feel like I move on too quickly. I'm just so happy that you're with me. Okay, that's what she said. I'm sneaky. If somebody's sneaky, guess what else they are? They're liars. Because why would you need to sneak and do anything if you're grown? I just want you all to pay attention. Okay, Heavy Bear says seizures due to being hit upside her head. Okay, well, here's the thing. If Cassie had seizures from being hit upside the head, you don't think she would have said that? You don't think she would have said that, beloved? You don't think that would have been in her lawsuit? She probably could have gotten even more than 20 million from Diddy if she had brain damage, especially to the point where she's having seizures from Diddy hitting her upside the head. There's nothing about seizures. I know you want to make up stuff to make it all make sense. The prosecution is going to have to make this make sense upon redirect. That's what I'm waiting for. Okay? Because you can't make it make sense with that because there's no proof of that. That's just something you're throwing out there. Okay? Let's not just throw out things and try to paint false narratives. Let's go by the facts as they are. That's what I do. See, this is a channel of truth, whether the truth hurts or not. I don't like some of the truth that Cassie told because it's going to benefit Diddy in the long run, in my opinion. Some of the things I wish she hadn't said. For example, when she said that Diddy talked to her about swinging, she literally used that word. I told you all, that's the same thing Diddy's team has been saying, that they were swingers. And then that was further proven to me when she told Diddy in the text, I fantasize about women, about girls. And then they brought girls into the bedroom and Cassie watched Diddy do with them. And she sat back and watched and pleasured herself just like Diddy did with her. That sounds like swapping and swinging to me. It is what it is. The defense brought up instances in which Cassie Ventura, this is another update from today. I'm trying to make sure I don't get you all confused. The stuff I'm reading on the tablets from yesterday. Okay, so anyway, the defense brought up instances in which Cassie Ventura testified that Sean Diddy Combs had taken her phone after he suspected she was talking to other men. See, that's why she had that burner phone, because she knew that he would take her phone. Ventura said Combs would also take other possessions like her passport or her watch when he was angry with her, and many times over other men that she dated over the years, she confirmed. If I was with someone else besides him, she said, I don't know that I would call that cheating. I mean, what do you call it? If you're with him and you're messing with other men, that is cheating. Just like when he's with you and he's sleeping with Gina Hunn, that's cheating. Or when he's with Kim Porter and he's sleeping with you and Gina Hunn, that's cheating. So defense attorney Ana Estavio asked Ventura if she remembered Combs taking her phone in 2013 after he suspected her of dancing with singer Chris Brown. I never heard this before. Interesting. Ventura said that she didn't remember much about the incident besides the fact that I wasn't dancing with Chris Brown. In August of 2016, Combs took her phone when he learned she was dating another man. She testified that they weren't really together at the time and they weren't in a good place. They'd been in a car driving to a doctor's appointment, and when she unlocked her phone, Combs grabbed it and ran out of the car, leaving the scene. This all sounds crazy as hell. Can y'all imagine that? Now, I could see somebody's man or woman asking them, let me see your phone. Or even trying to sneak in the phone, perhaps. But grabbing her phone and fleeing the scene, how desperate are you? They both sound like they were insecure as hell. Her mother called the police when she got home without her phone. Though Ventura said she did eventually get her phone back from Combs later that day. She wasn't asked to expand on the police involvement. Well, because she didn't want to press any charges. While Combs had her phone, he used it to call the NFL player that she was seeing at the time. That player is unnamed. I wonder who that was. See, here's the thing. Again, when Diddy was out here cheating with Gina Hunn, Cassie had a real problem with that. For one, because Cassie knew from day one that Diddy was with Kim. She chose to deal with him anyway. But then she starts spending more time with him and she's thinking, okay, I'm number one. Kim's number two. She probably accepted Kim, even though she did admit she was jealous of Kim, but she probably accepted that because she knew Kim was in the picture before her. But then here comes Gina. Where the hell you get her from, Diddy? And I'm up here doing all these freak offs and all this freaky ish for you. But you got this other chick. So that was a real problem for her. And I think that she may have even said it, I can't remember, but that she started messing around because Diddy was messing around. Okay? Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I mean, like I said, Diddy wanted to have his cake and eat it too. So then let's go back to yesterday. Let's go back to the comments or the text messages from yesterday. Okay, so now remember, she said Diddy didn't know the extent of her rug use. In 2012, Diddy overdosed after a freak off. This was at the Playboy Mansion. Okay, then they went to some SEX club. Cassie says Diddy hit her friend Carrie Morgan with a wooden hanger. The defense says, did you see that? Because you said you saw that. They see they're trying to catch her in a lie right here. Because she did say she saw it. Then Cassie changed her story. She says, she first said that she saw it when she was talking to the prosecution, I think. But then under cross, she said she was in another room and she heard it. Okay. And so they continue to have these freak offs. Diddy at one point text saying, I don't want to get caught up in the matrix. I don't know what that meant. Diddy said, I don't want to get caught up in the matrix. Cassie said, it's okay. We're just going to take it light. I don't want to get caught up in the matrix. It's okay. We're just going to take it light. I don't know what they're talking about right there, but I'll tell you what it sounds like they're talking about. It sounds like they're talking about doing some more rugs, because at this point, they're supposed to be in rehab. At least Diddy was supposed to be in rehab in 2016. And then they said that Diddy referred Cassie to rehab or something like that. Okay, so anyway, honey, this is all crazy. But let's go back to Diddy's, hold on, his apology. Let's go to that apology that Diddy did. Because remember, in this apology, he mentions, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe he mentions something about being in rehab. Jay Gray said this whole trial is a whole matrix. This trial is a whole matrix. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Chosen One said, wow, rehab is crazy over freak off, shaking my head. Well, they were both desperately addicted. It's just really sad.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy. Going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry. It's so difficult to reflect on the dark.
All right, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. He said he was effed up, right? Diddy said he hit rock bottom. He was effed up. Whew. Nicole, you are so nefarious. Nicole says, sorry, we found out you got a Tootsie Roll. Oh, that is so crazy. Ronald says, I would love to have you for dinner. I mean, take you to dinner. Ronald, please stop, okay? You're being nefarious at this point. Okay, Coco says, I was waiting for the music to drop, Queen. I know, right? Okay, because y'all know I have that on a remix for those of you who are new. Okay, so with that all being said, Jay Gray says, we all need therapy following this trial. This is absolutely nefarious. I mean, really? Okay, I'm shocked and appalled. Now, I'm telling you all, let's go to the Breakfast Club. Hold on. Let's go to the Breakfast Club to hear what Lauren London, not Lauren London, what Lauren has to say. I don't remember her last name, but let's go see what she has to say because she was inside the actual court. Okay, she was literally there. And like I told you guys, Queen Sam said it doesn't sound good without your remix, Queen. Okay, I know we've gotten so used to it, right? But so I want to hear what she has to say because I did hear, I think that was her voice talking to Douglas Wigner about Cassie's inconsistencies. And let me say this too. I don't know if I told you guys this already, but my source that's inside the court, and they're there today as well, so we'll get some more inside scoop later after we finish up here. But my source said that, oh my God, what was I going to say? I clearly lost my train of thought. What did they tell me? It'll come back. Hold on. But let's just go to the Breakfast Club. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Now, I'm going to put a better overlay on this because I don't want any problems with ScrewTube. I told y'all they got me the other day for showing that video of the Breakfast Club. So they didn't want to monetize the video. Hold on here. We'll use this, my favorite. Okay, I'm also going to put on some music just in case they're playing music. Hold on.
Yesterday in court was Cassie's first day of cross-examination. So that's where Puff's team gets to ask her questions about her testimony and just different things that they want the jury to be to hear.
All right.
I don't know what the prosecutors are doing. They did such a good job the day before of laying out, what they had and establishing why their charges make sense, even though I don't think that it's as like gut-wrenching as they've made it seem from all the indictments and stuff like that. But y'all, the way that Cassie was looking on that thing yesterday, first of all, they debunked so many different things, just speaking to her credibility, right? Like not getting into like the forest and all that yet, right? Just speaking to her credibility. Y'all know on the stand the day before she told that story about Suge Knight and Puff and D-Rock allegedly grabbing guns and going to run into Suge Knight at Mel's Diner. Right. And he left from a freak off to do that, according to her, right? So according to the defense team and the interview that Cassie did with the prosecutors before she got on the stand, like in the beginning of the investigations, that story was completely not true that she said on the stand the day before that. So
how did they debunk that?
So they basically asked her, they said, hey, you remember yesterday you testified that you stayed in your home and you were upset and that Puff had allegedly left from a freak off and blah, blah, blah. Like they went down what she said. Right. And she was like, yeah. And they said, well, do you remember? And they ran down the date that you spoke to the prosecutors and you told them that you were forced to get into a car. You were crying, you were upset, but you didn't have a choice according to you, right? Like you were like basically forced, get in this car to go with them to run into Suge Knight. And she was like, I never said that. And they said, oh, okay, well, we have the transcripts from your interview with the prosecutors right here. She looks at it. She pauses for a moment. She said, I don't know why this would say that because I've always said that I didn't go. And I'm like, but it's an interview you did with prosecutors. So it looks crazy. And there was so many moments like that where
that's why you shouldn't try to remember nothing when you was on drugs.
Right.
When you try to recall things when you're on drugs.
Why is Amazon paying me $600 a day? Because I use Amazon AI.
No.
Now, let me talk about that because I thought about that too. Like, she said a lot yesterday and the day before that about how much they were using drugs. So some things may be a little hazy for her. She couldn't even remember some of the escorts and names that they knew that she had slept with, right? So
who remembers escorts' names?
No, she remembered a lot of them because they were using they were using a lot of them for a long period of time and taking them to different states. But drug use. So
there was a time in 2017 where things were like super, super hazy, right? And she on the stand said, I really don't remember much from this time because there was something else that they were talking to her about, and it was just all over the place, and she wasn't sounding like she was telling the truth. So they're talking to her about the drug use. And the day before, remember I told you guys, they were asking her about the drug use and asking her how she would resupply on drugs, like who gave her the drug dealer's contacts and stuff like that. And then she said, Diddy. And when she said that, I watched Diddy in court look at her like, girl, what? Yesterday on the stand, they said, okay, so let's talk about your drug use, right? Because is it or is it not true that, you know, both of you guys were using drugs, but like Diddy was still able to run multiple businesses and like ran down a list of everything he was doing. He was more functioning. And she was like, yeah, I mean, you could say that. And then they go into having a conversation about the fact that at one point in time, Puff was calling drug dealers and telling them to stop serving Cassie because she was so bad off. Like she was worse off on drugs than he was. And Cassie admitted that was happening. The day before that, though, they painted it as if she was like lost in this whole like drug abuse thing that was caused and spiraled out by Puff. Yesterday, the conversation was, no, you were making choices on your own, to the point where he was even having to intervene with some of her friends because he didn't like how much drugs she was doing. He was trying to like protect the way that they were doing. Like they were doing their things, right? But he was trying to make sure that it was, from what they're alleging, that it was a lot more safe. And she didn't push back on it.
I thought they were saying, I thought Diddy's team was saying that Diddy was also on drugs really bad, and they were trying to say that's why he didn't remember putting hands on her.
But he even said he OD'd.
He OD'd, yes. So look, they never, and this is why I'm saying the prosecution left their star witness out there looking crazy, because Diddy's team has never ran from any of that. They have talked about his drug use. Yesterday, it did come up in court that he overdosed at this around the time that Whitney Houston passed away, right?
Was he rushed to the hospital when he overdosed?
Yeah, they said they took him to the hospital. It was like a whole thing. They didn't go into a lot of detail about it, and I have been trying to get more information on that, because for a lot of us in the courtroom, we were like, wait, what? How did this happen? How did he overdose? And the world never knew. But that's how bad their drug use was. But he was always able to like keep himself together and not like fall off, and able to like try and like go through like withdrawals and stuff to get off of it. She was having a bit of a harder time from what it seemed like, to the point where he was encouraging her to go to rehab, and she admitted she did go to like a wellness spa and things of that nature. But I think the reason why I brought that up is because Puff's team did try and use that as a defense, right? And she tried to do that as well. But the way that everything is coming out now, it's really seeming like, okay, what we saw happen to her in that video, and the other things that I know happened to her because we've seen photos of the bruises and things like that, right, is not okay. But the way that they were able to almost humanize, like, okay, he had a lot of drugs in him too. If we're going to give her a pass for, you know, being drugged up and, you know, not being able to make her own decisions, we should have that conversation about him too, is what they were able to accomplish yesterday.
Up a lot.
Yeah, and they used her to do it.
This is what I was telling you, Lauren. You got 8 weeks. You're going to go crazy, because every day when the prosecution is on, prosecution is going to say things that make sense. When the defense is on, the defense team is going to make things that make sense. You're going to be playing hopscotch like, oh my.
Charlotte, look at this.
You got 8 weeks.
I am like, I'm like, if I was a juror, I would be so stressed out.
You should really do a book and documentary after this, because you're there every day. Next question I was going to ask, could Cassie be charged? Will they charge Cassie? Because from what you're telling us, it was like
baby girl was the number 2.
No, she was number 2, and she was setting up
that yesterday. Yesterday I said she was G Money and Diddy Nino Brown.
The freak offs, and she allegedly supplied some of the drugs. That's what it seems like they're saying. So could she be charged?
Well, I had asked some questions about that yesterday to a source who told me that they had heard that there were some conversations about immunity, which would only make sense. But they can't 100% confirm it. But I'll have that by Monday.
I got so many questions. You gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go. We can come bring it back.
Did he blow up Kid Cudi's car? What happened with Michael B. Jordan? Tell us.
Child, we got some more for the next hour.
Jesus.
Because some people call them strays. What, Jess? What happened?
It's Janet Jackson's birthday though, so
all right, so you all heard that Lauren basically said what I said. They were proving inconsistencies, and some of it didn't come off as credible. Now, Queen Sam says, and this tickled me, even though it's really not funny, but I didn't think about this, beloved, because I was thinking Ike and Tina Turner, but this is more Bobby and Whitney. You're absolutely right. Queen Sam said this is some old Bobby and Whitney-ish. They said Whitney got Bobby on rugs, or that she was taking more than Bobby. That's absolutely true. It does sound like that. It absolutely sounds like that. I don't know how I missed that. Okay. So what are you guys thinking so far? What are y'all thinking? Jeff ATL said Janet Jackson 59 is still sexy. Honey, Janet Jackson is she 59? I think she's 60. Let me look it up real quick. I think Janet's 60. Hold on, here's another update. Hold on. The jury just heard, hold on, let me stop this music. We'll reserve the music for these videos that I don't have permission to be using, because sometimes, specifically ones that might be playing music themselves. Okay, so listen, the jury just heard a recording that Cassie Ventura captured of a conversation she had with a man in Atlantic City in March of 2014 after he said he'd seen an sexually explicit video of her. Ventura addressed the incident in her direct testimony, telling the jury that Sean Diddy Combs pushed her to get to the bottom of the situation. In the recording, Ventura is heard threatening the man multiple times. Oh, not threatening. She said, I'm going to kill you. And then he's going to kill you again. So both of them were gangsters, no less. Are y'all hearing this? Say what now? Cassie said it ain't so. Jeff ATL said, Queen, she was born in 66. Okay, beloved. Thank you. Are y'all hearing this? Say what? Cassie threatening to kill somebody, then says Diddy's going to kill him again? Queen Sam says, we're thinking that the Queen is doing a great job keeping us updated on this nefarious mess. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you all. Listen, I love you all, okay? I love y'all. If it wasn't for you all, there would be no me. And I would have to be getting up early covering this for days. Please pay attention. Now, for those of you who are new to this channel, welcome aboard. I hope you all enjoy it. Let me warn you, I have the most nefarious chat on YouTube. Everyone knows that. They're clearly nefarious, okay? But this is a channel where you will get the truth unfiltered, okay? I can be objective and I can be unbiased because I don't like Diddy. That's true. But I also will point out the truth, whether it helps Diddy or not, okay? But Diddy needs to go to prison, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, listen. Cassie says, I'm going to kill you, and then he's going to kill you again. This is what she's heard saying on the recording. Whether there actually was a video or how the situation was resolved was not established in Ventura's testimony. Ventura testified that she believed a man had secretly taken a video of her and Combs during a freak off. She was concerned about it, and she said she told Combs, who said he'd take care of it. I wonder if that was Jonathan Oddie, because this was during the freak off, so it would have to been somebody that was involved in the freak off, in my opinion. And mind you, oh my God, it is Jonathan Oddie. How do I know this? I'm going to tell you how right now. Hold on. Hold on. Jonathan Oddie. Do y'all remember the video I showed you all when Jonathan Oddie did that interview? I'll have to go back to that, because Jonathan Oddie said that Cassie passed out. He was afraid that one of them would die from the rugs. Okay, and he didn't want to be blamed for it. This was in 2014. He said it. He said, so I started recording it from there. Okay, so that's who it was. That's who it was. I'm going to go back and get that video and show you all, because I showed you all that days ago. This is a new video from Jonathan Oddie, not the one from 2018. This is a new one that he recorded, this interview from a Miami prison. So listen, said he took this video during a freak off. She was concerned about it, and she told Combs, who said he'd take care of it. She confirmed that Combs was also concerned about sexually explicit videos of himself getting out. So they were both concerned. So here's the thing. If he was concerned about videos of himself getting out, that means that when he was threatening her to release the videos, that he was just threatening her that he wasn't really going to do it. That's what it sounds like. Okay, I don't really know, but that's what I'm getting. Okay, S. Jones says, loving your coverage. I'll stay tuned in here. Replayed Cassie's text messages video, and I cannot stop laughing. Thank you for your insight, Dr. Queen. This is my first super chat ever. Thank you, beloved. I really appreciate you, and welcome aboard, okay? I really appreciate you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, Jay Great said, Jonathan Oddie is an honest John. Okay, apparently. Hold on, here's another update. An escort service that Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura used, Cowboys for Angels, was featured on a Showtime TV show called Gigolos. I told you all that over a year ago. Do you all remember? I literally found the agency where they were getting their workers from, and I showed it to you on Twitter. And I told you that the owner was in a Showtime thing called gigolos. Y'all remember that? I can go pull the video. Now, Ventura had been concerned that the escorts she and Combs used might end up on the show and reveal their relationship. Oh, so they were concerned. This is definitely Jonathan Oddie because he worked for them. That's why I went and dug up the receipts. Defense attorney Ani Astavio suggested that some of the escorts involved in the couple's freak-offs were featured on the show. Wow. Ventura said she's never seen the show, so she wasn't sure. Ooh, honey, this is all nefarious, honey. Y'all just hold tight. Okay, I'm going to find that video. But while I'm looking for it, I'm going to pull up, what is this right here? Oh, okay. While I'm looking for that, I'm going to pull up something for you all to watch. Okay, I'll pull up a video for you all to look at. Okay, so this is CNN, their live coverage. Okay, let's get into it. This is all getting so juicy, y'all. We're locked in for the rest of the day. Now, guys, for those of you who are new to the channel, let me just say that what I do is I record all day. Okay, but what happens is when the jury goes to lunch, when the court goes to lunch at about 12:30, I go to lunch and then I come back at 1 when they come back. So it's going to be 2 videos, okay? But please make sure you tune back in, okay, after lunch because we're going to be back.
Is the only man that will ever have this aggressive sexual side of me. When asked by the defense if this showed open communication between the two, Ventura said, "I would say." But the prosecution says this video from 2016 showing Combs assaulting Ventura as she says she tried to flee a freak-off proves.
Okay, I want to try to skip past all this or whatever. Okay.
Y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Combs' time with the late Kim Porter, the mother of 4 of his children, and other women also came up. Ventura testifying she has some jealousy of Miss Porter because Combs would spend holidays with her even though they had split up. Their fights over infidelity were a little scary, she said. In 2011, she dated rapper Kid Cudi while on a break from Combs. "I thought it would be way too dangerous to tell him about that," she said. But Combs lunged at her, she says, after finding Kid Cudi's name in her phone during a freak-off, which still went on during breaks in their relationship because it was a job, Ventura said. Now, there was actually a heated moment in court when the judge reprimanded the defense essentially for taking too long with their cross-examination. The judge said that there was a prearrangement of sorts that Cassie Ventura would be done with her testimony by end of this week. The reason? Well, she's pregnant, and she's very pregnant. Cassie Ventura can literally go into labor any day now. So the judge said that by end of day Friday, cross-examination and redirect from the prosecution has to be wrapped up. Now, Combs' defense said she is the most critical witness, and this is a very important case. Their client, of course, is facing life in prison if convicted. Back to you.
Defense lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs will continue their cross-examination of his former girlfriend on Friday, trying to prove she was a willing participant in his now infamous sex parties. Cassie Ventura faced a tough interrogation Thursday. CNN's Elizabeth Wakewester has more details now on day 4 of Diddy's racketeering and sex trafficking trial in New York.
Each character and each actor that came into the project brought their own thing to the table.
A 21-year-old Cassie Ventura in 2008, promoting the film Step Up 2.
Oh my gosh, it was an overwhelming experience, but exciting all at the same time.
During day 1 of cross-examination, she was asked about her budding relationship and emails with Sean Combs from that same year. When Combs said, "I love you, I miss you, can't wait to hold you," Ventura responded, "I'm a very lucky woman. I miss you so much. I'd fly wherever you needed me." The defense building its case that Ventura was a willing participant and enjoyed the so-called freak-offs, or long drug-fueled sex sessions involving male escorts, she says were orchestrated by Combs. In 2009, when Combs messaged asking if she wanted to freak off, Ventura replied, "I'm always ready to freak off, LOL. I just want it to be uncontrollable, Ventura said, referring to sex with the escort. I can't wait. That's why I want to see, Combs responded. Later that year, when Combs emailed, I want to be nasty for you, Ventura replied, in order for me to be more open with the things we do in bed, I need to feel safe, like home. This is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive sexual side of me. When asked by the defense if this showed open communication between the two, Ventura said, I would say. But the prosecution says this video from
Okay. Y'all heard that, right? Isn't that exactly what I told you? So, here's the thing, beloveds. At the end of the day, let's not forget that we don't have to agree on everything. I welcome contrary opinions. I'm not one of those YouTubers or content creators who gets upset or angry or butthurt if somebody disagrees with my opinion, basically, okay? Now, the thing is, I don't tolerate people coming in here. American Isness, sorry, beloved. American Isness says they're shadow banning you today. I could not find you. Honey, they shadow ban the queen every day. Okay, I'm shadow banned. That is absolutely a fact. Okay, they don't show the real amount of my subscribers nor the real amount of my views. Sometimes they will hide the videos. Okay, so that's why, and also they'll unsubscribe people. Now, the reason they do that is because sometimes I tell truths that they don't want told. Okay, with that all being said, for those of you who are new to the channel, please do yourselves a favor, and me as well. If you don't get a notification, if you find that you're not getting notifications, please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because they will unsubscribe people, okay? Specifically new people, they'll unsubscribe you and you'll never even know. So please make sure you do that. And here's the thing. 2 of my subscribers sent me screenshots of one day before I even started my live, and there was 11,000 people that had liked the video. Then when the live starts, the likes disappear and start over. So I just want you all to pay attention. This is the way they do. Okay. Cece says, LOL, there are YouTubers out here gaslighting, saying that yesterday was actually a win for the prosecutors. Yeah, they are gaslighting. And let me explain something about that to you all, beloveds. I'm going to tell you why the ones who are saying that it was a win for the prosecutors are saying that, because they know that most people want Diddy to go down. So they feel like if they tell the truth and say that the defense did an excellent job yesterday, which they did in my opinion, whether I like it or not, but they don't want the subscribers to get mad at them. See, yesterday, some people got mad at me. I was like, hey, what are you getting mad at me for? I'm just reporting the facts of what's being said, and I'm giving you my opinion. Some people don't want to hear that. They'll go in on YouTubers, okay? I don't care about any of that. I'm going to tell you the truth regardless. And some people will just tell you what you want to hear because they want your likes and your views and your super chats and cash apps. And they, you know what I'm saying? They want clicks and views. Here's the thing. I want clicks and views too, okay? Just like everybody else. But I'm not going to compromise my integrity and tell lies, paint false and fictitious narratives, or say things just because I feel that's what people want to hear. This is the channel of truth. And, sometimes that plays against me, but at the end of the day, I don't care, because I really prefer to just be honest and keep it a buck, okay? Whether people like it or not. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the video that I did at the beginning of the trial, which was on Monday, when Jonathan Oddie said something about recording it. So now we know that's Jonathan Oddie. Now I'm wondering if Jonathan Oddie is going to play that video. I mean, if he's going to testify in court about what he said in that video, okay, back in 2018. Okay, for those of you who've been following me, you know the video that I'm talking about. I was the second one to show it. Tisa Tells was the first one to show that video. Shout out to her, but she was the one who had first. And I did shout her out at that time. But here's the thing. So I'm going to go back to this interview that he did at News Nation on yesterday. Now listen to what he says. Because then when you connect the dots, you'll see that he is absolutely the one who Cassie's talking about is the man that she was threatening. Okay, Jeff ATL says, I appreciate you for telling the truth, Queen. That's why I've been rocking with you for 5 years now. Thank you, beloved. My day ones. All right. I appreciate you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Lights up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. It's very important for engagement on the channel, especially because they have the poor little Queen shadow band.
Jonathan Odie opened fire at Donald Trump's Miami golf course and was shot and arrested by police. Now, Odie said that he was in the middle of a bipolar episode. That's where it gets interesting. Later, while being questioned by Florida authorities, Odie brought up something totally unexpected. He claimed that he'd been a sex slave for Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura. This video is courtesy of Real World Media. Take a look.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on TV with people and stuff, and I was like a sex slave.
So at the time, Odie's story seemed too far-fetched to believe, but not anymore. And now, in an exclusive interview, Odie opens up to News Nation senior producer Allison Weiner about his claims, beginning with why he's agreed to talk now. Listen to this.
The insurance industry made me choose between feeding my kids or keeping my car legal.
Hold on, beloveds. Before we get to that, let's get to these updates really quick. Hold on. Okay, so here we go. AUSA says, excuse me, AUSA says the defense has sent us a zip file of text messages. We're reviewing them before raising it. The judge says, I appreciate it. Okay, AUSA Comey says the defense has still not shown us exhibits they may use in cross-examination of Ms. Ventura. We're worried this will continue. Okay, so why isn't the defense showing them exhibits that they're going to use? Okay, they said they have not seen those, and they're going to use these when they cross-examine Cassie. So prosecution is concerned about that. Now, okay, so AUSA says we anticipate these witnesses being on cross-examination for multiple days. We need to speak with them about security and transportation. The judge says, Ms. Shapiro, can you draft something on a piece of paper, an instruction you would have me give? So Combs Ana Maria Estavio, this is Diddy's attorney. She's the one that's going to cross-examine Cassie today. She says, we're making several chains of text messages. They had these documents in their possession for 8 months before we got them. The judge says, we're here. We were told there's half a day left of direct. Could you give them at lunch? Okay, so then Judge Subramaniam says, you don't have to put it in a letter. You can just email me the cases and I'll take a look at them. Okay, so then they say, are these judicial documents going into the public docket? How much is being left off the docket in this case? Okay, then the judge says, we have a witness waiting in the back. Produce them before the cross-examination starts. You can email me cases during the trial day. Let's get moving. Let's get Ms. Ventura back. Witness is entering. The judge says, welcome back. Okay, so Cassie just entered. She's about to take the stand. Okay, this is going to be juicy today, y'all, because after all the information we got yesterday, there's no telling what we're going to hear today.
I felt bad because I got along well with her, and I think she's a decent person. And unfortunately, I had a suspicion that she was in a situation that she was in, but I wasn't sure. And now I understand the life, what was going on in her life, and what was happening.
So is speaking to us from a Miami jail now. Here is how Odie says it all began for him.
I was a male, Chippendale, a model Chippendale, you could say. And they called me for a show they called me the agency that I work for to do a show. And then I went into the show, and things led to them offering me more money to perform sexual acts. And that's it. That's how I basically got started. I get dressed like a police officer, I do a show, I do a strip down, and then, they offer me some more money. They offer me some more money to do some extra stuff.
So Odie did get specific about the extra stuff that he says Diddy wanted from him. And these specifics were consistent with what he told law enforcement during the 2014 interrogation. Here is how he describes the atmosphere and how frequently it happened.
Candles, sensual atmosphere, lights off. He would sit in a corner in a sofa, watch and masturbate. And he'd say, he'd tell her instructions what to do to me. Perform oral sex, rub baby oil. Then he'd tell me rub baby oil, perform oral sex, and then have sex.
How many times did you have sex with Cassie?
Probably like 15 sessions.
And what did you get paid? How much?
It would be like 800 each time. Each end. But sometimes they'll call me twice. I'll leave, and then 3 hours later, they will call me, come back.
The best way to attract high-ticket coaching clients is not to spend all your time and money on social media.
And so Odie claimed that the sessions were drug-fueled, and that his concern for both Cassie and himself led him to get one of their sessions on video. Listen to what he says about that.
Or why did you decide to record or video?
Because after she passed out, I decided to record that. So in the event anything worse happened, like if she died, or anybody died, it will be on camera, it will be on video, what happened. So I wouldn't be responsible for any of that.
So you were beginning to worry about her doing drugs. I mean, like about her dying or him dying or somebody dying from the drugs, and that you would be held responsible. So you brought a video. You brought your phone?
No, I had a USB video memory stick done like spy shot, and I put it in the water on the table, in the living room table of the hotel I was upstairs. I just filmed it, and had it transcribed, and it had her threatening me, but he was telling her what to say. We had an argument. When I left, I knew they were paranoid. So I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I texted him and said, hey, if anything happens to me, I got evidence of being with you. At the settlement table, there was a lot of irregularities, okay? Mm-hmm. It was my first settlement. So they brought me in, and Diddy had a t-shirt with 2 men in ski masks pointing, making gun signs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it was black and white, and it had a red frame, okay? But that's the way he operates. He communicates, threatening you, like saying, I'm going to have you killed.
So Odie says to prevent the recording from going public, That's what he was just talking about. Diddy had him sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, in exchange for $5 million in hush money. This was in 2014.
Okay, you guys heard that. This was in 2014, so it is safe to say that Jonathan Oddie is who Kathy threatened to kill and then have Diddy kill him again. And Jonathan Oddie just said that Diddy threatened something about killing him and gave him $5 million. $5 million for that video to never come out and see the light of day. So do you think that Diddy really was going to expose Cassie with those videos? I don't think he was, because he didn't want to be exposed himself. Okay. And Queen Sam said, so not for the herpes. Well, here's the thing. Jonathan Oddie said in that 2018 video to the police when they were interrogating him that he did sue Diddy for herpes and that he won. And around that time, Jonathan Oddie started buying property or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe that was a payment for both things. I'm not sure, but he definitely mentioned the herpes. Okay. And Cassie mentioned it too. Basically, when she was on the stand with the prosecution, she said that she would get sores in her mouth. What does that sound like? Okay. All nefarious at the end of the day. So that all being said, this is all very interesting. Now, I'm going to go to an ABC video that I want you all to watch, an interview that they did with one of Diddy's friends. Now, this man has been outside the court every day with a free puff shirt. So let's hear what he has to say, because they finally caught up to this dude for an interview. We'll watch this to entertain ourselves while we wait for more updates. Okay, here we go.
Diddy Combs, with the defense putting the mogul's now ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, under cross-examination. And just a warning, this story contains accounts, descriptions, and visual content of actual and alleged events that some may find disturbing. In a New York City courtroom, star witness Cassie Ventura took the stand for the third day in a sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy case against her former boyfriend, hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Cassie was...
Hold on, let's get some of these updates first so that we're caught up. Now here comes Nicki Minaj's name being brought into this. Wow, didn't hear about this one. Or did you all hear about this? Because I didn't know Nicki was going to be mentioned. So here's what they say. Okay, so first off, they say they're back. Hold on. First of all, let me go to the one from CNN first. They say Cassie Ventura testified that she went to an inpatient treatment center in early 2023 for mental health problems. The program was 45 days, and she said she began writing her book while she was there. Ventura confirmed that she's taken buprenorphine since she was prescribed the medication for opiate addiction in 2022. Okay, so here's what Inner City Press has reported. So they reported that Nicki Minaj, that Cassie pretty much blamed Nicki Minaj, said that Nicki Minaj told her to go back. Hold on, let's talk about the therapy first. Okay, says they're back. Estavio says, did you get neurofeedback therapy? Ventura says, yes. Estavio said, what's that? She says, they hook something up to your head and show you things to see how you react. Okay, so here's what I'm telling you. For the person that was in the chat talking about Cassie had brain issues, brain damage from the hits upside the head, and was having seizures. See, that's why I told you didn't know what you're talking about. You're just making up stuff. Okay, I guess to try to paint a different narrative than the one that's already being portrayed. Okay, so they would have known that she had brain damage, like I told you. So anyway, Estavio said, what is that? Ventura says, they hook something up to your head and show you things, see how you react. Estavio said, were you told the effects of it? Ventura said, yes, to help me with my trauma. Okay. Now, Estavio says, did you participate in EMDR? Ventura says, yes. Estavio said, what does that mean? Ventura says, memories and processing them. Estavio says, the idea is you recall prior traumatic memories, like for PTSD. You've been treated for PTSD? She says, yes. Okay, Ventura says, I was still physically developing. Estavio says, you were 22. Ventura says, women keep developing after 22, don't you think? Estavio says, but you're not suggesting you were still physically developing after 22. Ventura says, I am not. Well, that is what she was suggesting, because why did she even say something about women keep developing at 22? That's what she was saying. Okay, but I feel like the defense debunked her on it or pushed back. And so she said, no, that's not what I'm saying. But that's what she was saying to me anyway. Okay, that's what it sounded like for me. Okay, so now here's the thing about Nicki Minaj. Cassie testified in court that Nicki Minaj encouraged her to stay with Diddy after she opened up to her about all the horrible things she was going through. Okay. AUSA says, okay, continue. Ventura says, well, I didn't reach out to a lot of people. Sean had too many loyal friends in the industry. AUSA says, loyal friends? Like who? Ventura says, well, like I reached out to Nicki Minaj and she told me to stop complaining. It's part of the game. You are rich and famous. Girls will die to be in my shoes. Okay, she says that's what Nicki told her. Well, here's the thing. Nicki may have told her that, but it's definitely not Nicki's fault that you stayed. Okay? That's not Nicki's fault that she stayed, as far as I'm concerned. Hansel said, Queen, check Inner City Press again. He said it was falsified. Oh, the thing about Nicki Minaj? Hold on, honey. Thanks for that, beloved. Hold on. Hold on. Who told me that? Hansel. Okay, thank you, Hansel, beloved. Let me go back. Oh, yeah, he does suggest that because he says, hey, please sue them as they're lying on your name. That's what he says to Nicki. Okay, note, Inner City Press has been informed that a falsified post of its reporting has been circulating. The post below is not from Inner City Press, which is reporting right now what's said in the U.S. versus Sean Combs trial, which has not included the below. Okay, so who's doing? See, this is the thing. This is the thing. People are doing the most out here. See what I told you all about people just causing disruptions, telling all these lies? Okay, thank you so much for telling me that. I may have noticed that later, but I definitely didn't notice it right now. Okay, so here's the thing. So after she testified about the mental health problems, now they're on a short break. Okay, the jury has been dismissed for a short break. Now, mind you, I told you guys on yesterday that Cassie gets a break every 90 minutes because she's pregnant. When you're pregnant, you have to pee constantly because your bladder is full and all that stuff, and you're getting pressure on the bladder from the baby and all that stuff. And she's big. She's like right towards the end of her delivery, okay, of her pregnancy. So they're taking a break. Okay, so while they're taking this break, let's watch this video because I want to hear what this dude has to say. Oh, and let me just tell you all quickly, because remember I said that I forgot my point that I was trying to make that my source told me on yesterday. Well, here's what they told me. They told me on yesterday that they kept showing that video of Diddy beating Cassie in the hallway of the hotel. They said it almost got to be a point of annoying that it just kept showing it. And I said to them, that's not a good idea, because when I was in college for criminal justice, they taught us about interrogations and things like that, admitting evidence. I've actually participated in mock trials and crime scene investigations and all of these things, right? And with that all being said, there was a case, and I can't remember the name of the case, but there was a case that I remember discussing in my one of my criminal justice classes or courses, where this man had his leg cut off. And so when he was in court, he pulled up his pants leg and showed them that his leg was cut off. And so he only showed it that one time because it was so impactful. The jury and everybody in the courtroom gasped. Okay, so they showed it one time. And they were telling us in the class that you don't want to overuse certain details. When you have someone on the stand and you have evidence that you're showing, either to corroborate what you're saying or to discredit what they're saying. You don't want to keep showing it over and over and over, because then it becomes like mundane. It's like the people have seen it so much, it loses the effect, the shock effect of it all. Now, I was already thinking this when they said they were going to use the video in court, because everybody's already seen that video all over the internet. We've seen it how many times? And I was thinking, do they really need to show that? Because I'm sure the jurors have already seen it. Okay, but now they're showing it over and over and over and over and over in court, and that's just crazy to me. I don't know if they think, oh, well, clearly they think that's going to help them, but I don't think it is, because somebody said it in the chat. That's the word right there, beloved. You nailed it. Someone in the chat said it desensitizes you. Exactly. It just becomes normal. You've seen it so much, the shock value is now gone. Okay. The Inkwell said it. Won't that desensitize folks? Exactly. That's exactly what it does. Okay, that's exactly what it does. It takes away the shock value. And so it's like no point in to continuously do that. So let's go to this video.
Was grilled for 6 hours by the defense, trying to paint a picture that she was a willing participant in the alleged freak-offs that are central to the prosecution's case.
The whole point of the cross-examination was to get jurors to believe that Cassie Ventura was not a victim of sex trafficking. She may have been the victim of domestic violence or assault, but they were hoping to raise doubt in the minds of jurors that there could have been other reasons Cassie Ventura engaged in the sexual conduct she did.
Examination. Esteval said, to make him happy, you told him that you wanted to do freak-offs, right? Cassie replying, no, there's a lot more to that. Esteval going through old texts and confronting Cassie with a message from August 2009, in which she told Combs, I'm always ready to freak off. LOL. The defense reading another of Cassie's messages, suggesting she became reluctant only when she felt, in her words, quote, dirty and grimy as opposed to sensual and spontaneous. Going on to say, I get nervous that I'm just becoming the girlfriend that you get your fantasies off with, and that's it.
The cross-examination did meander and appear to get bogged down at times. The whole defense is that Cassie was not coerced into this kind of sexual activity. So the defense is hoping the jury in those text messages sees enthusiasm on the part of Cassie Ventura, a willingness, an eagerness to participate in the kind of lifestyle that Sean Combs was leading.
They wanted to cast doubt, reasonable doubt on her credibility, and they wanted to cast these encounters as consensual encounters. And there is evidence to support that notion that they were in this relationship, that she agreed to this swinging lifestyle.
The defense questioning Cassie about texts she sent to Combs on the day this video escape a freak off. I want to freak off so bad, but don't want to expletive myself up. What am I to do? The defense trying to suggest the freak off could be Cassie's idea.
Even though the text messages appear to be friendly, the sex appears to be consensual over a decades-long relationship, that there can still be evidence of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. Sex crimes and sexual trafficking are generally the result of grooming by a defendant, someone that continues to push boundaries and make behavior that is coercive, that is non-consensual, appear to be normal.
Now, I cannot stand Sunny Houston, but I have to agree with what she just said. But here's the problem. That may have been the case, but that's not how it came off. It came off like Cassie was eager to have the freak-offs. It came off like she was the one that was initiating them much of the time. Okay, that's how that came off. But let's continue.
Another theme the defense pushed throughout the day, jealousy.
Defense attorney Ana Esteval got Ventura to agree she could be jealous. Cassie Ventura said she had some jealousy of Kim Porter. Porter's the mother of 4 of Combs's children. She wanted to be the one to develop a relationship with his family that she did not have.
Well, see, here's the thing. You know how they say, however you start a relationship, that's how it ends. Diddy was in love with Kim. He was with Kim before Cassie came into the picture. He, in fact, kept Cassie in the dark behind the scenes. Like, he didn't bring her out in public or whatever. And then if you remember, when he did first bring her out in public, it was her and Kim on the carpet, okay? And he had Kim thinking that Cassie was just his artist. He had both of them out there on the carpet. Y'all remember that picture? Okay, Nicole says, I hope none of my colleagues on here, people been calling my phone all week and I've been rushing them off like, I'm in a meeting. Call me next week. Nicole, you are so nefarious, okay? I hope they're not on here either, beloved. It's a burst you out. Okay, Adrian says, if Diddy was threatening those videos, why would it pay $5 million to keep one from coming out, Queen? Well, that's a good question. And that's exactly what I said, beloved. I think that he probably did threaten her that he's going to release the videos, but I think he was just talking, just trying to get her to stay, or just, you know what I'm saying, trying to get her to stay or whatever when they would have these fights. I don't think he was really going to do it because, like you said, why would he pay $5 million to Jonathan Oddie? I definitely don't think that would make any sense.
Cassie was asked about a moment at a freak-off where Combs went through her phone, discovered she had been cheating on him with rapper Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Muscati. Esteval asked Cassie, did you feel justified in cheating on him with Mr. Muscati because of Mr. Combs' infidelities? Cassie answering, I could have, possibly. I don't know.
That jealousy cut two ways. Cassie Ventura talked about some pretty scary arguments she had with Sean Combs over her infidelity. With rapper Kid Cudi, Combs was violent towards her for reasons having nothing to do with sex, but because of jealousy and infidelity.
In 2015, when Cassie was filming Honey 3, she learned Combs was dating another woman, so she began a relationship with actor Michael B. Jordan. Cassie testifying, I was definitely angry, yeah. Cassie is expected to take the stand again tomorrow.
The judge wants her finished with her testimony by the end of Friday after federal prosecutors told him that she could give birth as soon as this weekend.
Combs has pled not guilty and denies all charges. In court, Combs' mother and his three sons sitting through a fourth day of graphic, lurid testimony. Combs' support system extending beyond family as well, including friend of 35 years, Charlucci Finney, now a member of Diddy's inner circle defending his friend.
Your friend, Sean Combs?
1,000%.
Now,
hold on, beloveds. Let me add music because I don't like when they play this music and stuff because I'm not sure if it's copyrighted or whatever. I don't want any problems. Okay.
How would you describe your relationship?
God brother, close friend.
Now, when you say friend, if I may ask, now you're from Brooklyn, I'm from Baltimore, so this is a Baltimore question.
Absolutely.
Now, when you say friend, or on the payroll friend?
I never received $1 from him as a payroll. That's my brother. Blood make you related, but loyalty make you family.
As long as probably forever, there's only been one Frosty.
Charlucci says he shows up to court every day, rain or shine, often wearing a free puff hoodie.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed of them. I love them out loud. I'm not going to hide it.
I understand that in court, the youth guys sometimes exchange looks, kind of nod.
Right.
Walk me through those moments. What's that about?
Well, there's a thing that we do, and he let me know he's okay. He's calm. Like, I'm good, brother. Don't worry about me. And then I'll return the favor. I'm good, brother. Don't worry about me.
But you are worried about him.
I'm worried about him because it's a different place. You know, you're going from this big mansion, this king-size bed with butlers and stuff like that, to living in a room, mattress this thick, being told when to get up, when to sleep.
Finney says his friend is not a monster.
Racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation for the purpose of prostitution. Does that sound like your friend?
No, it don't. It sounds like alleged charges. And that's why we're in court. He's not a sex trafficker. I know that he's not a racketeering boss. I know that.
How do you know that?
The RICO was built for people like John Gotti, Al Capone. Mobsters. He's not a mobster. He's a producer. He's a philanthropist. He's a father. He's my friend. He's my brother. So
And his lawyer suggested he's also a swinger.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I don't think swinging is against the law. What he do in his bedroom is his business.
Let's talk about the video of his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. You've seen the video.
Oh yeah.
Your reaction when you first saw it?
Seeing it, it was a bad look, right? It could be upsetting, right? To see your friend in a situation like that, right? See your brother in a situation like that, see a woman in a situation like that. And by no way means possible that it's okay for a man to touch, pull, attack, grab, touch, do anything to a woman.
If that were your girlfriend, your sister, your mom, your daughter, what would have been your reaction?
I'd rather not say.
In addition to the federal trial, Combs is fighting more than 60 lawsuits depicting an alleged pattern of sexual violence and abuse. Combs' lawyers have denied all allegations and said he never sexually assaulted anyone.
Now let me say this. Yesterday they talked about the baby oil with Cassie, okay? And they asked about if the baby oil had rugs in it. All right? So that was not confirmed, which is interesting to me because a lot of these people that have accused Diddy in these civil lawsuits claim that they were rugged with the baby oil. Okay, so that's interesting to me, but let's continue.
Lisa Bloom represents two people suing Combs in civil court.
The trial is underway. Feels like it's been a long wait.
And one government witness in the federal case.
It's very scary to be a government witness in a case like this. And I think scariest of all is that Mr. Combs will be sitting there staring at the witness. It's something that's very brave.
One of her clients is singer-songwriter Don Richard, who was a member of Danity Kane and collaborated with Diddy over the years. She filed a civil suit against Combs just days before he was indicted and arrested last September. Richard accused Combs of sexual battery, forced labor, gender-motivated violence, hostile work environment, and copyright infringement. She also claims she witnessed Combs becoming violent towards Ventura on numerous occasions. The alleged abuse including choking and strangling, punching her and throwing items at her, including a scalding hot pan.
Your client, Don Richard, you filed her suit 1 week before this case was brought against Sean Diddy Combs. Your reaction to that?
We were surprised and frankly very pleased to see that the government filed a case that was strikingly similar to our case. I mean, keep in mind, the government has a lot of power that I don't have. Mainly, they had the power of the FBI to go in and conduct raids of Mr. Combs's homes. But knowing what the government knows, that they filed a case that's so similar to ours, we saw that as a very positive sign.
Combs's lawyers have denied the allegations and accused Richard of trying to transform a straightforward commercial dispute into a headline-grabbing sex trafficking conspiracy.
For many people, this trial is about unchecked power. This trial is about the underbelly of the music industry. What is it for you?
For me, it's about my brother fighting for his life. That's what it means to me.
Guilty or not guilty, will his life be the same?
It can never be the same. He have to rebuild either way.
He's a man in his mid-50s. Can he rebuild if he is acquitted?
You don't know Sean, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. Watch.
And for more on this story, watch Impact by Nightline, Diddy on Trial, now streaming on Hulu.
Master.
Okay, so very interesting. He's got one friend that's on his side clearly. Andrew says, did that guy who was an ex-slave try to delete Trump? Yes. He went there. He said he was having a bipolar episode. That's what he said, I believe. But yeah, he went there and shot up the Doral resort that belongs to Trump. I don't know if he necessarily went there for Trump, but it was Trump's resort. Okay, I'll say that much. But this is all very interesting. Now let's go to some updates. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Okay, so the jury has returned. Oh, let's see here. Okay, so during the break, while the jury was on break, this is what was reported 11 minutes ago. The jury was again shown a message Sean Diddy Combs sent to Cassie Ventura in January of 2016 that was brought up previously on direct examination, in which he referenced a freak off without taking ketamine. Special K, I believe they call it that as well in the streets. Ventura previously testified that the K referenced ketamine in that text message. He put K, and that's what he was talking about, according to Cassie. I hate K, so you let me know when. Please don't be mad and think that's all I want to do. This is what Combs said. I hate K, so he didn't like the ketamine. So you let me know when. Please don't be mad and think that's all I want to do. A successful freak off is when we remember and we don't be fiending to do it right away, he said. Let me read that again. This is what he texts Cassie. A successful freak off is when we remember and we don't be fiending to do it right away. So he doesn't want to take the K. He hates it because he wants to remember. So sometimes they were so geeked up that they didn't remember things. That's what that sounds like. And why is that important for the defense? Because that's showing that some of the things that Cassie said in her testimony may or may not be valid, because maybe she didn't remember things correctly because of the illegal substances. Now, as the jury, and remember, I told you all she was saying she didn't remember certain things, so maybe she didn't, but some of the stuff I think she just didn't want to say she remembered it. Okay, like for example, the pills that she was talking about. What pills? I'm sure they were illegal substances, and I'm sure she knew that. Then also, there was something else that she said that she didn't remember. It was the video that she claimed she deleted. Remember? She said it was in her phone, and she texted him saying, oh, I just deleted one of our little videos. It was so dope. And Diddy said, I'm going to do it again. And then Estevao said, what video was that he's referencing, basically? And Cassie said, I don't remember. There was a lot of videos in my phone. And then Estevao says, freak off videos in your phone? She said, yeah, but there were other videos too. So she said she didn't remember which video, but we know that it was likely a video of a freak off, because if it was just a regular video of them just having a good time or whatever, there really wouldn't be any reason to delete that. Okay, as I told you on last night. So as the jury is in a short break, Sean Diddy Combs' attorneys have left the room to try to get their exhibits in order. Combs is sitting by himself at the defense table. He asked a junior member of his legal team to adjust the monitor on the table so he can see the screen more clearly. Combs' son and sister are present in the court today. Cassie Ventura is wearing a pinstripe pantsuit. 3 minutes ago, the jury returned. Okay, they're back in the courtroom after break. So that was just 3 short minutes ago. Okay, so now let's see what Inner City News is talking about. They're back. Estevao says, did you get neurofeedback therapy? Oh, we already went over that. Okay, hold on. That was about her trauma and the PTSD. Then she was asked about the PTSD. She said she wasn't, no, I'm not saying, she didn't, she said, are you suggesting you're still physically and you were still physically developing after 22? And she said, I'm not. Okay, so they're still in the same spot, it looks like. Hold on, looks like something just popped up. Let me go back here. Okay, so with the jury out, judge says witness lists by Sunday at 5 p.m. The judge wants to know all of the witnesses. But will this and the other filings, which are clearly judicial documents, be in the docket? Judge says, as for these long text messages, use binders so we can save them. This is what the judge is saying. Now, let me just say something about the video that we all just watched, beloveds. The video where Lisa Bloom was talking about Dawn Richard testifying. Now, I told you all I have a problem with that. The reason I have a problem with that is that, you know, Dawn Richard could absolutely corroborate some of Cassie's testimony, but the downside is she's bringing up prior bad acts. That's why Harvey Weinstein was able to get his conviction overturned. I keep telling you all this because I really want you all to let this sink in. And let me again explain to you what prior bad acts is for anyone who missed it days ago. In law, prior bad acts refers to instances of misconduct by a defendant that occurred before the alleged crime that they're facing charges for. Now, let's talk about it, because Dawn Richard, even though she sued after Cassie, what she's suing for happened before the federal indictment. Okay? So these are prior bad acts. So essentially, it's about the defendant's past actions, and even if they were not formally charged or convicted, and how they might relate to the current case. Okay, so here's the thing. Prior bad acts are uncharged misconduct of crimes or crimes committed by a defendant before the event they're currently being accused of. And prosecutors very often try to introduce evidence of prior bad acts to influence the jury or the judge by showing that the defendant has a propensity of criminal behavior or a bad character. Now, there's exceptions where this is excluded, while generally inadmissible, or when it is included, right? Because it's inadmissible to prove character with prior bad acts, because they can be admitted. Sometimes they can be admitted under certain exceptions, though. So here are some of the exceptions: motive, intent, absence of mistake or accident, a common scheme or plan, identity or knowledge. Okay, but they have limited use because prior bad acts cannot be used to prove a defendant's character to show a propensity to commit crime. And then there are legal considerations where attorneys will carefully scrutinize these prior bad acts to ensure that they are not improperly used to try to sway the jury, and then they'll argue against their admission if they're not relevant or necessary. So here's the thing. This is going to be a problem, I do believe. I told you all 1,000 times, Diddy's team is writing down all this stuff that's going on so they can take this all back on appeal and try to get Diddy a mistrial or get his conviction if he gets found guilty, so they can get it overturned. Like I said, they're not really talking about Harvey Weinstein right now for whatever reason. I guess because Diddy's much more important as far as the media is concerned. But the bottom line is that's why Harvey Weinstein got his case overturned, because they allowed 3 people who really didn't have anything to do with the criminal case, who had filed civil suits against Harvey Weinstein, who had accused him of stuff in civil court. They allowed them to come and testify at the criminal court about things that happened before the criminal charges. This is considered prejudicial. Okay, so he was able to get a whole nother trial. Now, will he be convicted again? Who knows? Okay, who knows? Queen, did the S worker try and delete? Okay, I already answered that question. Okay, Donald Trump. He's a lot of other things, that's for sure. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Sheila said, dude, you're not always around Diddy. Well, here's the thing. Even if he was around Diddy and knew that Diddy was doing something nefarious, is he really going to admit to it? He's Diddy's friend. He calls him his brother. He's going to defend him tooth and nail, in my opinion. Andre says, why did the prosecutor put that first escort on the stand? He was from New York. They were in New York, so that wasn't trafficking. It didn't prove anything, didn't help their case. Well, here's the reason, beloved, because they're saying that in some instances, he was flown out to other places. So that's why they're saying that it is trafficking, because he flew them out. I mean, this is under the Mann Act. When you fly somebody out to engage in prostitution. Okay, so that's why they had him up there on the stand. But here's the thing. To me, he really didn't help their case, because he got up there and said Cassie was the mastermind. Like, she was the whole architect behind all of these freak offs, that him and her exchanged numbers, that they would contact each other. Even in Cassie's text messages that I read to you, Cassie said Diddy told Cassie that he wanted to go to the Broadway play, and then he let her know that Dave, one of the escorts, had contacted him, and then she let him know that Daniel contacted her. That's the man that was on the stand. So that just proves that she had contact with this man outside of Diddy. That proves that the man wasn't lying when he said that they exchanged phone numbers. And remember, he said that he thought him and Cassie had something, like maybe a friendship or whatever, some sort of rapport. He said he could have been wrong, but that's what he thought. Okay, this is also the person who said that when Diddy was slapping Cassie around in the room, she came, ran out, and jumped in his lap. This is also the same man that said he thought Cassie was the most beautiful woman he ever saw, and that basically he would have been with Cassie had she wanted to be with him. He asked her, "Why are you with this guy?" And Cassie said, "Oh, it's okay." So to me, his testimony, he said that Cassie was the one who told him to put the golden showers on her and all that stuff. I think that at the end of the day, his testimony probably helped the defense more so than the prosecution. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, we'll see how this all pans out. Okay, so let's go to the next update. Okay, so the jury returned 11 minutes ago, and now defense attorney Ana Estevao brought up an April 2010 text exchange between Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura about the freak-offs. And let me just say this. These text messages were in an old phone, I do believe, or old Blueberries and iPads and phones and stuff. Remember they said Cassie had these devices that were broken? They were old and broken. I wonder if she knew they'd be able to get this stuff off of here, off of those devices. She may not have known because these text messages are not good. They're not a good look. The conversation had already come up during Ventura's direct examination. She testified earlier this week that she was going to tell Combs she didn't want to have freak-offs anymore, but didn't because she saw how he reacted. Now, here's the exchange. I'm going to read it to you verbatim. Ventura, I want to talk to you about something tomorrow. Going to sleep? Or she says she's going to sleep. Going to sleep. Love you. Combs then says, is it going to stress me out? What's it about? Ventura says, freak off. It can wait. It's not a big deal. Combs says, now you don't want to do it anymore? Or he says, now you don't want to do it anymore. He's not asking, he's saying it. Now you don't want to do it anymore. Oh, I already know. You're so predictable. Ventura says, really? Now, mind you, you've heard this all before because it's exactly the exchange that was read upon direct examination days ago. So Ventura says, really? Okay. Since that's definitely what it is, we'll leave it at that then. Since I'm so predictable, have a good night. Combs then says, whatever, baby. I'm not going to play no games with you, and you ain't going to keep shutting me down. Ventura says, I'm not shutting you down. I never do. If anything, it's always the other way around. I wasn't going to say I didn't want to do it anymore. Now, I want you all to pay attention because the other day when she was on direct exam by the prosecution, they didn't read that part. They didn't read that part. You see, here's the thing. When they were going through the text messages the other day, they cherry-picked the parts of it that they wanted to suit their narrative. Of course, that's what they're supposed to do. They're the prosecution. They're trying to get a win. But that's also why they fought so relentlessly to get the judge to not allow some of these text messages into evidence because they knew it's going to contradict the narrative they've already painted. So the defense went and got the same text messages that they already used, but what they did was they showed what was said before and after to give more context. So clearly, this is the part they didn't say. I'm not shutting you down. I never do. If anything, it's always the other way around. I wasn't going to say I didn't want to do it anymore. The prosecution tried to paint the fact that she was saying that she didn't want to do it anymore. Okay? So that's interesting because that's another point for the defense as far as I'm concerned. Okay, not looking good thus far. Okay, so now with that all being said, while we wait for more updates, I'm going to play some music for you guys while I'm looking up some more videos for you all to watch, because here's the thing. Above all that drama, wants to hear the song Dominoes by my son, by my beloved son, Shakur. Okay, so I'm going to do you a solid, and I'm going to play that, Beloved. I want to hear it too, now that you mention it. I hadn't played any of his songs in a while. I've just been playing my own. And my son's a much better rapper than I ever dreamed of being. Please pay attention. Okay? So here we go with Dominoes. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Now I'm going to cut it off at the end because before it ends all the way, like the last 30 seconds or 40 seconds, because he has a sample that he used. And every time I play the entire thing, ScrewTube demonetizes the video. Okay, because he has that sample on there. His producer put that sample in there or whatever. Okay, so here we go. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Marcus on the beat. Dominoes, I'm about to make them dollars fold. I'ma have them bitches running like the comic code. In my city, bullets flying, niggas dropping lows. They don't knock on doors, they just break inside your home. Yeah, so my llama close. Yeah, if you get too close, yeah, bitches adios. Had to let that nigga know he was doing the most, trying to put my niggas on. All my niggas is broke. You think you broke, it's in your head, you feeling closest to the edge. Just keep your balance on the ledge, and if you fall and bust your head, it's nothing I could do. I know anything is possible, fuck that, ain't nobody stopping you. Gotta be logical, even if I could lose, I still gotta try, my nigga. I was gonna rob a dude when I was losing. I've been fooled by obstacles and I consume many rap beats and I produce. Gotta find my way, I'm trying to move. Why these motherfuckers wanna be kinda cool? I ain't fucking with you niggas, you comical. All I gotta do is give them a rhyme or two, saying phenomenal. Look at what time I do. Give him an opportunity to tie his shoes. I was tripping like book flights, no paradise, just parasites. Nigga been a slave all my life. Wonder why I know how to fight. Cause I had to fight for my rights. You know it's a true war between black and white. Visions of me in the top floor. These niggas gon' hate on my condo. I'm trying to win and I'm waiting like Rondo. Ballin' on niggas like I was LeBron. Squares in your circle, that's too many waffles. Money, that's God, alright. Making niggas sacrifice. Like all these niggas really die for hate. Dominoes, I'm about to make them dollars fold. I'ma have them bitches running like the comic code. In my city, bullets flying, niggas dropping lows. They don't knock on doors, they just break inside your home. Yeah, so my llama close. Yeah, if you get too close, yeah, bitches adios. Had to let that nigga know he was doing the most, trying to put my niggas on. All my niggas is broke. Bitch, I done traveled 1,000 outlet miles, all while compiling files. Mine's been out of bounds, bounce between cutthroat regimes, just below supreme, raw life defining trials. I've been hiding out in a sense, yeah. Who in the boxes ball with me? There's too many shots in your block involving these super killer cops till we bombing all the department offices. Now I done found a proper route till I make a meal from the lines from out my mouth. Since a frightful child while the toss it. Niggas finna boogie down low rounds of countless clockless, obnoxious. A body competition, I am highly opposite of fully got a rocket power style. This the tale of a flow so corrupt, it'll leave Almighty God devoured. Now my nigga, miss annual purge. I'm a vandal, you heard, fuck nigga, your head up on the mantle and serve them. I was sure rampant to trample you off camera, was all stand just to check where the neck damage occurred. Yeah, you better plan to disperse from the game, try banning me first. Lucifer got my soul, now a dead man will emerge, bitch. Dominoes, I'm about to make them dollars fold. I'ma have them bitches running like the comic code. In my city, bullets flying, niggas dropping lows. They don't knock on doors, they just break inside your home. Yeah, so my llama close. Yeah, if you get too close, yeah, bitches adios. Had to let that nigga know he was doing the most, trying to put my niggas on. All my niggas is broke.
Okay, with that all being said, thank you all for your compliments. Okay, I'm gonna go to this video of outside the courthouse. It looks like they're talking to Cassie's attorney, Mr. Douglas Wigdor. Okay, so let's go to that and hear what he's talking about. Likes up, everyone. Please, please, please don't forget to like and share. I love you guys. Thank you for your cooperation and participation.
Hearing from her, but plenty of more bombs.
I'm going to back it up.
Well, and apparently there's some, I don't know if it's an actual hard and fast rule or if it is professional practice and standards but whatever amount of time the defense, the prosecutors had with her, which was about a day and a half of 2 days, the defense is allowed the same amount of time. So that would mean that they would not have any time past tomorrow if they get started, resume the cross-examination tomorrow morning. So I really do think, and from everything we're seeing now, that the cross-examination is going to wrap up by tomorrow. I don't know whether or not they can bring in another lawyer. The other thing, Andy, I want to point out is really interesting today on Combs' side. Luigi Mangione's attorney showed up in court to show support for Combs. Of course, she's married to Combs' lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, but she was there, and Diddy looked happy to see her. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, who's going to continue with that cross-examination. But they're really, they didn't really have any like gotcha moments with Cassie in terms of in terms of catching her in inconsistency or anything like that. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Andy?
Right. My last question before I let you go, Lisa, because this has been so very insightful into day 4 of this case. But as we watched during open statements, it's not only about what they say, but who says it in terms of the lawyer that presents some of this. And it was interesting to look at the cross-examination, as it was Anna Esteveo there cross-examining, asking questions, chit-chatting with Cassie, getting comfortable with her. How did you view that? What was your perspective on having her be the person to cross-examine Cassie?
Well, I think they definitely, it was clear to everybody, they definitely wanted a woman to do it. They definitely wanted a woman, a woman to approach her. And she was being very, I don't want to say laid back, because Anna, the defense lawyer, she, of course, very, very involved. But in terms of the approach with her, it was much more conversational. But she was also, there were a lot of objections by the prosecution to the way she was asking questions. And then we learned also, too, from sources that early this morning, the defense had failed to meet the request. There was an April 27th deadline for them to supply the prosecution with all of the evidence that they would be presenting in court, like all of these text messages. And apparently that didn't happen. They missed that deadline. So yesterday, the judge had ordered them to get them to the prosecutors as soon as possible, like, basically ASAP. And then there was a dump of reportedly thousands of text messages, or a lot of information for prosecutors to go through at about 3 a.m. this morning. That's how close to the wire the defense is playing it. So that typically is not a good indicator of things that have been well thought out. But on the other hand, defense attorneys will say, we don't want to tip our hand with the prosecutors too much in advance. So that might have been what was behind all of that. But the fact of having a woman do the cross-examination was critical, because the last thing they wanted to do, Cassie is a tremendously sympathetic figure. Her courage, Andy, think about that. Just going up there and talking about these, like the lowest moments of her life, and admitting to, what she did, which is not anything any woman would really ever want people to know. And doing it in open court with the eyes of the world on her, that takes a lot of guts. And of course, the other bombshell from yesterday, we have to remind people, was the $20 million that she got as the settlement from Combs. She was asked another question, Andy, that was really, really important, that everybody in the court was kind of like going, whoa. Anna asked her, the attorney asked her, would you say that your lawsuit ruined Sean Combs? And then there was an objection, and then there was a rephrasing, and Cassie said, yes, it did, because it basically did. I mean, his empire, his reputation, everything is totally a 180 from what it was before that November 2023 lawsuit was filed, Andy.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Of course, Cassie mentioning that about it, but it's obviously a conversation about, is Diddy ruined Cassie's career, and now Cassie potentially ruined Diddy. So it's a very interesting argument being made there in court. And we just saw the support system for Sean Diddy Combs, his kids leaving the courthouse just moments ago. Lisa Evers, I appreciate your time, though. Great insight, as always. Day number 4 wrapping up there in New York City. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, so that was from yesterday. I thought that was from today. So let me go to today, and also let me find some more videos for you all. Okay. With that all being said, Andre says, if Diddy loses his case, that's grounds for an appeal. You can't put a time limit on cross-examination. I never heard of that before. Well, that's what I said, beloved. The judge absolutely does have it up to his discretion that he can put a time limit on it. For example, if the prosecution was given an hour, a day and a half, then he can say that the defense only gets an hour and a half or a day and a half. But here's the problem with that. You can definitely do that as a judge, but you want to only do that if the line of questioning for the defense or the other party is irrelevant. If they're just asking all these long drawn out questions or whatever, and it really doesn't have a direct impact on the case, if it's irrelevant. Now, if it is relevant and something that you really feel needs to be talked about, you should be allotted the time to do so. But the judge has already decided to give them until the rest of the day. Okay, because initially they said they wanted it done after lunch. And I'm like, that's crazy. How are they going to be done that quick? But now they basically are saying they have until 4:30. Trippin says the Mann Act needs to be repealed. This was a law created during Jim Crow after a famous black boxer, Well, beloved, I already told everybody that from day one. I think I even told them that way before the trial started. Okay. Yeah, I definitely told them about that. It was about a black boxer, Jack Johnson. That was him, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check to make sure. Yeah, it was Jack Johnson. I told them about that already. I learned about that when I was in school for criminal justice. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to go to another video, okay, of Reno Shakur while I look for some stuff for you guys. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And by the way, please notice how Reno Shakur looks just like his mother. Please pay attention. Okay.
Marcus on the beat.
Sometimes a nigga don't feel right. Pain on my brain, will I let go? God, can you help me, cause I feel blind. Things getting harder on this side. And you wonder why a nigga get high. Cause marijuana help a nigga get by. Catch me with this spliff like Marley in this bitch. Heart be in this shit, so I hardly take offense when niggas hate. Focusing on my plate, these niggas knocking your dreams. It seems I can't relate. Damn near 10 years and still doing my thing. Something about the struggle just make a nigga go 8. But if you ask me, every nigga's an athlete, or they sitting in backseats writing lyrics to make a way. I'm not a stereotype, I'm just a stereotype. And my influences been doing this since I was like about the height of a fire hydrant. Now I write till I'm the height. Hit a nigga throne and start a heist. Never drop the mic. You can rob a dyke or ride a bike. I don't give a fuck what you niggas do. I got shit to do, nigga move. I got shit to prove till I'm taking your bitch on a cruise. And my lack on 22, nigga. Sometimes a nigga don't feel right. Pain on my brain, will I let go? God, can you help me, cause I feel blind. Things getting harder on this side. And you wonder why a nigga get high. Cause marijuana help a nigga get by. Sometimes a nigga don't feel right. Pain on my brain, will I let go? God, can you help me, cause I feel blind. Things getting harder on this side. And you wonder why a nigga get high. Cause marijuana help a nigga get by.
Okay, challenge.
Leave your phone unlocked and let me go throughout your notes and see if you niggas got talent. I'm caught between depression and determination. That is most highest peak. That's why a nigga gotta find a balance. I find belief in higher power over my advantage. Cause I done seen demons do damage and preachers can't stand it. When a nigga got a new perspective. And if I fuck a big booty bitch, won't make it to heaven. You telling me the sin that I'm doing gon' block my blessings. If I was popping pills just to cope with my new depression, then I'ma go to hell, it's already on earth. Niggas escaping, they hurt. Fuck having faith in the afterlife, that ain't even for sure. I mix Henny with Coke and Sprite, then my demons occur. I'm just human, you living right, we gon' see if it works. But if it's fake, then ain't no coming back, you in the hearse. I'd rather take my fucking chances, just living the curse. My nigga. Sometimes a nigga don't feel right. Pain on my brain while I let go. God, can you help me cause I feel blind? Things getting harder on this side. And you wonder why a nigga get high. Cause marijuana help a nigga get by. Sometimes a nigga don't feel right. Pain on my brain while I let go. God, can you help me cause I feel blind? Things getting harder on this side. And you wonder why a nigga get high. Cause marijuana help a nigga get by.
All right. All right. That's my son. That's my son. Okay. Thank you all for the compliments. Okay. Thank you, beloved. As Jones said, this is so much better than the mumble rap on the radio. Thank you. I agree. Okay. So that all being said, listen, I have a video. It looks like News Nation did an interview with Harvey Levin. Now I want to hear this. Okay. I want to hear what they have to say. So let's get into it. Okay. I'm going to pull this up. So we'll watch this while we're waiting for more updates to come in. Nicole says, please stay independent. The industry's weirdos. Honey, let me tell y'all something. Speaking of that, check this out. So my son was on this show. He was on there for one episode, but he quit. It was called Rhythm and Flow with T.I., Cardi B, and Chance the Rapper. They were the judges. Okay. So my son got picked to be on that show from a video that he sent in. Long story short, they were asking him some weird art stuff, some Illuminati type stuff, in my opinion. In his opinion, he called me coming home from the last interview or whatever and thought it was just all nefarious. Now, with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. Dawn Richard, right? She's supposed to be testifying today against Diddy. She says Diddy did all this stuff to her, but I want you all to pay attention because Dawn Richard was going to work with Diddy on the show. They were going to bring back Making the Band in 2020, but then the pandemic hit. Mind you, Sheila says, I remember that show. Okay, so here's the thing. My son quit that show after the first episode, but the producers called him back because they liked him so much and they wanted him to be on the rendition or not the rendition, but they wanted him to be on the new Making the Band that they were bringing back in 2020. And my son was like, Diddy? Hell no. Okay. But like I said, Dawn Richard agreed to be like a judge on there or something. And I find that interesting because if Diddy did all this stuff to her, not feeding her, making her work all these long hours, why would you want to go back and work with this man? Like, that's crazy to me. How do you need money that much? Okay, there's no amount of money that could ever make me work for somebody who did the things that these people are accusing Diddy of doing. Okay, I mean, take for example, me and my son aren't rich. Okay, my son's an artist, yes, and he wants to make money, but he would not work with Diddy. When the producer called him and said, Diddy's bringing back Making the Band, and they wanted my son to come on there, my son was like, he told them no before he even told me. Then he comes and tells me later, he's like, yeah, you know that producer from Hustle and Flow, or whatever the show, Rhythm and Flow, called me asking me to do Making the Band with Diddy. He was like, I'm not working with Diddy. All his artists are broke. Okay, and that's true. They all are broke. All right. So why would you want to work with him again, Don Richard? He already took your money the last time, right? And your publishing and all of that. When you were the Danity Kane and Dirty Money. Like, I would not want to work with Diddy under any circumstances. Okay? I'm just saying, for anybody to want to work with Diddy after knowing the type of business dealings that he does, you have to be desperate. Okay? So anyway, let's go to this video from News Nation. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
If Diddy winds up convicted and sent to prison for all the stuff that we've been hearing about all week, Cassie Ventura may be a big reason why. If he's acquitted and he goes right back to his old life, it is possible that Cassie Ventura will be a big reason why. In day one of Cassie's cross-examination by one of Diddy's own lawyers, his former longtime girlfriend and protege may have just flipped her own script, from being forced into days-long drug-fueled freak-offs with male prostitutes and feeling disgusting afterwards, to instead being the architect of those freak-offs, willing and eager to play a part in them. The jurors were shown more than 100 emails and texts between Cassie and Diddy, and they read along on big monitors, but Cassie didn't read along on the monitors. She was told by Diddy's defense lawyer she had to read along out loud. She had to read all the very dirty, kinky, steamy text messages out there for everybody in the courtroom to hear. And trust me when I say they are not safe for work.
Now, here's the thing. In my opinion, when the defense was getting Cassie to read the messages that she herself wrote at some point, I think that was a way of them humiliating her. That's what it seemed like to me. Bad enough that she has to expose all of this stuff in real time, but then to have her reading these text messages of things that she said that were so vulgar, you know, at the end of the day and profane, that had to be humiliating. But again, I told you that the defense is using a really good strategy. They had Estevao come out and speak with Cassie. I told you all they were going to get a female to do it, or at least they should, and they did exactly that. But not only that, they got Estevao to do so because she's of Cassie's ethnicity, okay? And remember how she was flattering Cassie yesterday, saying, "Oh, you're beautiful," and Cassie said, "Thank you." She said, "Oh, but it's true." She was trying to make Cassie comfortable and trying to get Cassie, you know, to build a rapport with her so that when she hits Cassie, when she starts discrediting Cassie, when she starts messing up her credibility and showing that she didn't tell the same story on different occasions, Cassie would just fall into the trap. Because now you're comfortable. You're not on your P's and Q's. You're not on point and paying attention to what you're saying. And you slip up. That's a sneaky trick. It's called good cop, bad cop. That's what they taught us when I was in college for criminal justice. You know, you have the one person that goes in on the accused, and then you have the other person that talks nice to them to gain their trust. So they'll be more able or more likely to start divulging things. That's the tactic that the defense used. Okay, but let's continue because I want to hear this.
You almost worry about your broadcast license, honestly, with some of this stuff. So here we go. Get the kids out of the room. In a message to Diddy back in 2009, Cassie writes, "When we used to freak off, when we were so in love, there were no questions asked. It felt right, like it literally made sense for the next step in our sex life together." In another message, she says, "Wish we could have F.O. freak off before you left. My period is over." And then this exchange came out today. It was also from 2009. Diddy says, "When do you want to freak off, LOL?" Cassie answers, "I'm always ready to freak off." 2 days later, Diddy texts, "I can't wait to watch you. I want to get real hot." And Cassie replies, "Me too. I just want it to be uncontrollable." Team Diddy also produced text messages showing Cassie taking the lead in planning that now infamous freak-off at this LA hotel, the Intercontinental Hotel, from back in 2016. Obviously, the one that had to end early in a brutal attack in the hallway by Diddy, which was caught on surveillance video. Again, the defense did not downplay the violence in this tape, but they tried to tie the violence instead to jealousy and the couple's drug use, as opposed to coerced sex and freaking off. For instance, Cassie testified that Diddy actually OD'd in 2012. She also testified that he was extremely jealous, which may seem like weird, odd, given the two were, as the defense puts it, swangers. In Cassie's telling, Diddy made her have sex with more than a dozen male escorts while he watched and recorded and pleasured himself right there in the hotel room or the apartment or wherever they were doing it. On the stand yesterday, she named several of her freak-off partners, including a guy called Jules. Cassie says that Jules was the escort from the hotel freak-off that turned so horribly violent in the hallway. And if prosecutors found this Jules guy, and if this Jules guy takes the stand, he could back up Cassie's testimony, right? That she was beaten and coerced as part of a larger criminal enterprise, something that Diddy did from the top and ordered his staff to make happen. Because in the end, honestly, folks, the sleazy details, all the stuff you see in the headlines, yeah, it's good reading, right? But it is not what matters when it comes to a RICO case, racketeering, conspiracy. These are the allegations against Diddy, and that's the stuff that matters. So I unpacked all of this earlier today with my old friend, Harvey Levin from TMZ. Take a look. Harvey, as a lawyer, I'm sure that you are poring over every bit of the testimony in that federal courtroom. I keep seeing huge, sexy, dirty headlines, but I'm more interested in the headlines that prove or disprove racketeering, RICO, and that is kind of like cryptic and arcane stuff. But do you think that the federal prosecutors are actually getting there?
Boy, that's a great question. I don't see it yet. I saw a little bit of it when they started getting into Kid Cudi, when Cassie was dating Kid Cudi, and she made reference to something we've all heard about, which is that Kid Cudi, when he was dating her, his car blew up, and that Diddy is the one who had it done. And she made reference to a car blowing up, but never said Diddy did it. So the loop wasn't closed there. That aside, you know, I know the prosecutors have talked about kidnapping and other ventures. I don't know that these freak-offs are going to resonate with the jury as racketeering. I think that some of them are going to find that a stretch. They may find fraud, or they may find force or coercion, but I don't know that they're going to find that what he does in those hotel rooms and elsewhere constitutes that kind of organized crime activity. Kidnapping, blowing up cars, yeah, if they can prove it. But, you know, I don't know. This one seems to me, all the talk about, you know, the freak-offs, to me, it doesn't resonate with racketeering. It goes to the other charges.
I keep thinking about the hotel video, right, where you see Cassie being beaten to a pulp, and Diddy's already admitted to it on his social media. Everybody thought it was, you know, a clear evidence of domestic assault, but that's not the charge. But what I heard was that there was a male prostitute in the room where she fled, and that male prostitute named Jules could be a corroborating witness that she was trying to escape a coercive freak-off. So that, to me, really stood out as a potential uphill climb for Diddy's lawyers.
I think.
Okay, so let me get into the updates, and then we'll finish listening to that. Now, to her point, she says that Jules could corroborate her story that it was a coercive freak-off. Well, the bottom line is Cassie set that freak-off up. She set that freak-off up. So how is it coercive? Okay, she admitted on the stand yesterday that she's the one who initiated that. It was in the text messages. Okay, so they have actual proof. Now, here's the thing. A tense scene has been unfolding this week outside the downtown Manhattan courthouse where Sean Diddy Combs is standing trial on trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges. CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who has been reporting from the courthouse throughout the first week of the federal criminal trial, said Friday that some fans of Combs's have gathered outside to voice their support for him. She says they're very passionate and they're very loud, noting that a supporter of Combs and someone from the other side of the aisle were arguing loudly nearby as she reported on air today. That's what's been happening at this courthouse, because it really is a madhouse, both from the public and from the media, Wagmeister said. Okay, so drama outside the courthouse. Okay, so defense attorney Ana Estavio asked if Cassie Ventura hated Sean Diddy Combs. She said, I don't hate him. Now that's interesting. How do you not hate somebody who did those awful things to you, making people put golden showers down your throat? That's what the prosecution said at the opening statement. Somebody who beat you to a clean pulp. Okay? Somebody who made you do things you didn't want to do to the point you had numerous UTIs and sores in your mouth. How do you not hate this person? That's interesting. So she says, I don't hate him. Then she asked this question. Now, why did she ask this when Cassie's husband's sitting right there? Do you still have love for him? She said, I have love for the past and what it was. How do you have love for the past? I don't even see how she has love for the past, given what she's accusing Diddy of. Does that make sense to any of you? Once in the chat, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you all are thinking about it all, but let's continue.
I think it's the smoking gun if they can show that. And they haven't obviously called him yet. She is not.
If they found him, right? If they found this
If they found him. They have not said that, well, Cassie has not said that she was escaping the freak off in that hallway. The defense is saying that confrontation had nothing to do with the freak off. They're saying it had to do with Cassie seeing something on Diddy's phone that he was involved with another woman, and that she took the phone and he was coming out to get it, which you see him grab a phone.
Yeah.
Now, Cassie testified.
Exactly.
Cassie testified that there were 2 freak off sessions in that hotel room. And that after the first one, she said, I want to go to a premiere, and wanted to leave, and he attacked her. What I am unclear on is, was that what we were watching in the hotel, in the hallway, or was there an attack, an alleged attack, inside the room? If it was inside the room and this guy jeweled.
I feel genuinely nervous to release this to the public. If you are a coach, a service provider, or you sell any kind of
testifies, that's going to be damning evidence against Diddy. But we just haven't seen him close the loop on it.
I'm getting the impression the black eye happened in the hotel room, and the fat lip that she said she also got happened out in the hallway. But more importantly, the phone issue, right? She testified that, look, she didn't even have to testify to this. It was on video that she is beaten to a pulp, and Diddy grabs all of her things and leaves her in a slump in the hallway and goes back to the room. And then he returns to her slumped in the hotel room with no bags. What was the reason? If Diddy's purpose was only to go and retrieve that phone that he says he chased her down, it was a battle over the phone, then why did he come back to her? Once he'd gotten all the material, taken it back to the hotel room, dropped those bags, he came back to her slumped frame with no bags in his hand. What was the reason?
I think it's a really good point. Now they are saying that he was coming off, he was withdrawing from drugs and he was blacking out and all of that. So I don't know. You know, Ashley, the thing that has really confused me, because there's a lot of evidence of domestic violence, and you know, the jury, it probably hates him at this point because what he did was monstrous. But this is not a domestic violence case. When it comes to these freak-offs, at least in terms of one of the charges, which is the main reason Cassie's there, they have to show some kind of force or coercion. I haven't seen the prosecution close the loop on that outside of what you just said in the hallway.
From the text messages that were shown yesterday, it's not given force, fraud, or coercion to me. Not as of yet. Not to say that it won't. Hopefully they'll be able to prove their case, but it's not given that right now. Elijah says Cassie really doesn't want to testify. The feds are making her and using to try and convict Diddy on these bogus charges. Well, here's the thing. I agree that she doesn't want to testify, beloved. And in fact, it was said that she was granted immunity for her testimony. So think about that. I want you all to think about that. Why would you grant immunity if this is true? And I believe that it is. She was subpoenaed, and they basically supposedly told her, this is what my inside source said, that they told Cassie that she could be brought up on charges if she didn't in fact testify. So when she agreed to testify, she was granted immunity. And I think that Lauren from the Breakfast Club mentioned something about that as well, about some immunity deal. So that being said, Cassie's not up there testifying because she wants to. She's up there because the feds made her. Because here's the thing. If Cassie wanted criminal charges filed on Diddy, she'd have gone to the police a long time ago. She didn't go to the police. Most of these people didn't go to the police. Who did they go to? They went to civil attorneys because they wanted money. They wanted compensation for whatever they claimed they went through, but they didn't want criminal charges. That's just very interesting to me in all of the cases that have been filed against Diddy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody did the things to me that these people are alleged, and Cassie included, that Diddy did to them, I would want criminal charges and I'd want money. So I would first go to the police and file criminal charges, and then I'd sue you for monetary damages. Okay, that's what I would do. But none of these people bothered to go to the police. None of these people. Cassie got her $20 million, and I think she was fine with that, and that was the end of it for her. And I can also see why she wouldn't want to testify, because who wants all that nefarious stuff coming out? Who wants people to know that you have people giving you golden showers in your mouth? Who wants people knowing that you said all those things in the text messages? Especially, you don't want your husband, your new husband, who you probably, when talking to him during pillow talk, probably made him think that you were just solely the victim and none of this stuff ever was initiated by you. You didn't have anything to do with the hiring of these S workers. It was all on Diddy. That's likely what she told her husband, because like I told you all last night, my source said that when that stuff started coming out, that was showing where she was initiating these freak offs and she was telling Diddy all this raunchy stuff she wanted to do, her husband's face turned beet red and he looked like he was furious. Okay. So with that all being said, I just find it all very interesting. Kay Wood says, government is dirty. They're taking the spirit of racketeering and ST for this. Right. I agree. I hope the jury understands how dangerous this could be in future cases. Here's the thing. It is dangerous. Because this is showing a whole lot of domestic violence, a whole lot of volatile situations are being discussed in the text messages with people who were clearly addicted to illegal substances, and they both had issues because of that. I don't think Diddy or Cassie would have been equally as violent if they had not been doing those rugs. Okay, I don't think they would have both been behaving that way had they not been doing all those rugs. Now, Cassie passed out at one point from taking the rugs in 2014, according to Jonathan Oddie. Cassie didn't mention that on the stand. She did say that somebody in 2014 recorded them, and then in the text messages, she tells Diddy about it, that she finds out this guy has the video. I'm also curious, how did Cassie find out about Jonathan Oddie's video before Diddy did? Because she's the one who told Diddy. So did Jonathan Oddie tell Cassie he had the video? Maybe he did, because remember, Cassie was keeping numbers, exchanging numbers with some of the S workers, supposedly, as one is already testified to. So that being said, Cassie passed out in 2014, according to Jonathan Oddie. Diddy had OD'd in 2010, according to Cassie. They seriously had some problems, and they both needed rehab. And they both supposedly went to rehab. And Diddy is the one who suggested Cassie go to rehab. Let's not forget that Diddy went on some spiritual retreat or did some type of spiritual thing or whatever. And in the text messages that I read to you from last night, he basically was talking to Cassie while he was there, texting her, saying that I'm growing. And I'm growing and I'm knowing. And I want you to know that I'm doing better and this, that, and the third. Okay, so they both were just, I think they were just rugged out of their minds when a lot of this stuff was going on. Okay, and that makes people violent and nefarious. That's just my opinion.
Because all of the other stuff, when they talk about, well, he was trying to extort her by saying, well, release the freak off videos. That was.
And also, K Wood 19, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Wasn't in connection with doing a freak off. That was, he thought she was stealing drugs on the yacht in Cannes, or she's dating the man she's now married to, Alex Fine, and he was jealous. But it's not about these freak offs. at least they haven't closed that loop.
Oh, I feel like it's closing. I think the forced
when
coercion,
you read that,
if Jules can be found and get up on the stand, the
And I agree
forced
with you.
coercion of that sex, if she said, I'm out of here, I want out, and ran in bare feet, there's your forced coercion.
I agree with you. But when you look at all the other stuff that she's already testified to, when you read it carefully, when she's talking about, he showed me on the airplane trip back from France to New York, he showed me this freak off video and said, I may release it. But it seemed to be in connection to the drug thing, that he thought she was stealing drugs. And then, she lands in New York with him. And then later, the next day, he says, let's go to dinner. They go to dinner and he says, I want to do a freak off. And she says, fine. And then they say, well, why'd you do it? And she said, well, I was afraid he'd threaten me again. But he didn't. And so then the question is, how do you tie that?
I applied to over 35 jobs on LinkedIn and got 0 responses. Then I found jobs.
The extortion.
So let's get rid of the extortion. Okay, let's get rid of the extortion. I'm going to bring in bribery because there's another predicate act for RICO. Yeah. And so if the hotel security guard who filmed that notorious video, right? He filmed it off that he wanted to show his wife. So that's why we have it. If that hotel security guard was telling the truth and that Cassie's, testimony was that Diddy hands him a stack of money that I think he said it went from the pinky to the thumb, a stack of money, and said the words, keep this quiet, clean it up. I don't want to see this anywhere. There's your bribery. There's your obstruction of justice in connection to that freak off and that abuse.
Can I sound like an old man for just a minute?
Please do. It'll make me feel younger.
There you go. So a long time ago.
Wouldn't that be attempted bribery because the man said that he didn't take the money? Wouldn't that be attempted bribery because the man said he didn't take the money? I wish Gavin was here. Gavin, where are you when I need you? Okay, so I'm going to confer with him sometime today. I'm going to text him. He's probably in court.
There was a very famous lawyer named Melvin Belli, and he was a great civil lawyer, bombastic and very effective. He had a case once where a man lost his leg in a car accident, and the man.
Oh, snap. Are you all listening? Harvey is literally bringing up the case that I told you all about earlier this morning that I learned about in criminal justice, about the man whose leg was amputated, right? He lost his leg and they showed the leg in court, but they showed it one time. Because remember, I told you that my source said yesterday that they kept showing that video at the hotel with Diddy beating Cassie. They kept showing it over and over and over. And I said, that's going to make it lose its effect. It's going to desensitize the jury. And it's just going to be like mundane at this point, regular. It's going to lose the shock value. So Harvey is referencing that same case. Please pay attention. This is criminal justice 101.
Got up on the stand and he was wearing pants all the way down to his shoes. And at one point, Melvin Belli said, please come down and face the jury. And he had the guy roll up his pant leg so the jury could see the stump. And they were horrified. And then he immediately put the pant leg down and never showed it again. And it's called demonstrative evidence. And the idea is you don't keep showing a jury something so they get used to it. I saw this in the Rodney King case. I covered that every day. And they showed it way too much. And the media showed it for a year. And it lost its impact by the time the jury deliberated. I think prosecutors are showing that hallway video too much. And I think that the impact it had, think about it, when you first saw it, now you know what it is. And the more you see it, the more you get used to it. It's still horrific, but it's such a basic principle. I don't understand why they keep showing it.
Unless you want that jury to think it's normal for him to beat her up. I hate him. I will not give him the benefit of the doubt. I always think that's an underlying strategy. Just make them hate your client no matter.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention to what she just said. This lady, she said, I hate him. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention because whether you hate him or not, the facts are the facts. Okay, the facts are the facts. See, this is what I'm telling you guys. Sometimes I may say things, but you may not Chocolate 313 says, sue them, Queen. They're stealing your content. That's really interesting that he's saying the same exact thing, though. Isn't that interesting? But here's the thing, though. She's saying, I hate him. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So when someone says something like that, that lets us know that they've already determined that he's guilty. You understand what I'm saying? They've already determined that he's guilty. That's the kind of person you don't want on a jury at the end of the day. And I'm not saying Diddy isn't guilty, but what I'm saying is we should all be examining the facts and going by the evidence, because the bottom line is no matter what, the prosecution has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. On yesterday, in my opinion, the defense did prove a reasonable doubt. They made me doubt some of the things that Cassie has already alleged. They made me feel like Cassie's not telling the truth. Also, I got that right away on day one when the S worker testified. He was saying the opposite of what Cassie said. And I told you guys that somebody is lying. Either he's lying or either Cassie's lying. Who stands to gain from lying? The S worker doesn't have a dog in the fight. He's not going to, lose or gain anything from his testimony. But Cassie, let's not forget Cassie did that lawsuit. And in that lawsuit, a lot of the things that she said, and also she's previously spoken to the prosecutors during interviews. So what she says on the stand is supposed to match those things that she said previously. Otherwise, the defense can trip her up like they already have done. Okay, like they already have done. King Shaw says, I see Gene Deal been very quiet. Has he? Oh, and here's the thing. One of the former bodyguards, I'm not saying it was Gene Deal, I can't remember who it was, but one of the former bodyguards said that Diddy made a fake flyer and tricked Cassie into coming to see him in Miami so he could get her away from Ryan Leslie. Now, that's not true. That's not how the story went. I can't remember who told that story, but whoever told it, that's not how the story went, clearly, because Cassie confirmed on the stand yesterday via the text messages that she was forced to read. They told her, or she said, that her and Diddy made the flyer, that she made the flyer, okay, so that Diddy could fly her out to Miami. She said that she made that flyer and showed it to Ryan Leslie, had him thinking that she's going out of town to do a gig, but really was going to see Diddy. So Diddy didn't trick her. They both tricked Ryan Leslie. Okay, that's what happened there. But let's continue because this is juicy.
No matter what.
But look, you show it once and it works. So I just think you diminish the impact.
My great thanks again to Harvey Levin. And Harvey's going to be back a little later in the show to talk about what TMZ has discovered about Justin Bieber. And as always, we reached out to Sean Combs' attorneys and we requested a statement from them today, but we haven't heard back. Again, very busy when you are in trial, so I didn't expect to anyway.
Yeah, they don't have time to send her a letter, respond back to her. Girl, bye, sit down somewhere. Mark Agnifalo's already in a time crunch to get this cross-examination done before the day is over. Okay, let's see if we got any more updates. Nope, the last one was from 23 minutes ago. Let me see what Inner City Press has for us. Wow, they haven't posted anything since an hour ago. Okay, it must be juicy because here we go. I'm right on time. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into it. Estevao says, and you write back, we can embrace, LOL. And you wanted to hug him, right? Ventura says, that's what I said. Estevao says, did you have sexual intercourse with Mr. Combs that night? Ventura says, I did. Estevao says, and during that, your now husband FaceTimed you. What? So y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing this? So she was cheating with Alex while she was with Diddy. Didn't I tell y'all that was going to come out today? Didn't I tell y'all that was going to come out today? So Alex Fine FaceTimed her while she was having sex with Diddy. How mad is he in the courtroom right about now? I have questions. So Estevao said, your now husband didn't know you were with Mr. Combs at the time. Oh, my Lord. I feel sorry for this poor man. What is this man thinking? What is this man thinking? This is all so nefarious. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. Dre Day said, case closed. Everyone have a good day. Okay. So is that the nail in the coffin, beloved? Ooh, honey, this is getting more and more salacious. Let me just have a sip right here. Are y'all hearing this? Well, let's continue. Here's where the bullshit begins for today. So, wait a minute. You guys, remember when I told you all days ago, they said that the defense was arguing for her husband not to be in the trial, in the courtroom when she testified? And the prosecution said, no, he had the right to be here. And her attorney said he had the right to be here. This is her support base, basically. And then they said, well, at least he doesn't need to be in there when she testifies to what happened in 2018 about her claiming that Diddy raped her. So then I'm like, okay, what does this got to do with him? Please don't tell me that she lied about Diddy raping her like a whole Karen, so this man wouldn't know she was cheating or still messing with Diddy. Please tell me that's not what you did, Cassie. Please, oh, please tell me that's not what you did, because I'll tell you, if that's what she did, this is really bad for the prosecution. This is really going to be bad for the prosecution. I'm almost scared to read further. Let's go and see what it says. She says, your now husband didn't know you were with Mr. Combs at the time. She says, I don't know what he knew. Again, pretending she doesn't know. Now, mind you, every time they ask Cassie tough questions, please pay attention to how she says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. I don't recall. Cassie, you know darn well you remember, beloved. Now, here's what it says. Estevao says, later he discovered it. Now the prosecution says, objection. The judge said, overruled. Here comes the truth. Estevao said, you told your husband, your husband you were raped. I think it should say you told your husband you were raped. Ventura said, not that evening. Oh my God, Cassie, please tell me you didn't do it. Please tell me you did. She said, not that evening. Well, when did you tell him that? Did she try? Because the last time she had a freak off with Diddy was in 2018, by the way. Okay. Oh my God. Let me see what this other updates from CNN is saying, because that's where it stops right there. Y'all, this is not good. Please don't tell me she played a Karen and lied about something so serious. This is going to discredit anything she says, as far as I'm concerned. If we find out that she sat there and lied and told Alex that Diddy raped her, and she also put that in her lawsuit that she filed against Diddy. Oh my God, if she literally told this sort of serious lie, like this is what typically happens to Black men. Now, Diddy's still nefarious, mind you, in my opinion. But if she told this lie, how can we believe anything that she's saying? Now, here's what they say on CNN. Defense attorney Ana Estevao is now going through text messages Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs exchanged in September of 2018 about rumors she'd heard about him dating his yoga instructor. Why do you care who he's dating in 2018 in September? Because I thought they were done. She texts saying, I hear you're dating. I didn't know. Combs denied it, saying, I'm not dating. I'm not dating. Ventura said, maybe you've been going on dates all along. I actually need to stop even caring. Combs said, do you want to start dating? If you are, let's just talk about it. At this point, Ventura was already dating her now husband. She testified. You're dating this man and you're mad because Diddy's dating? Y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Oh my freaking Lord. Somebody book my flight to Costa Rica because I'm out of here after today, okay? I've got to go. Do y'all hear this? I am so through. But let me continue. She says she testified You were dating your now husband at this point. She testified. She has testified. Ventura also testified yesterday that a month earlier in August of 2018, she went to dinner with Diddy. She did say that. I told you all that last night, I think. She went to dinner with Diddy or with Combs for what she thought was a closure conversation. After the dinner, Combs drove her home, and Ventura said he raped her in the home. She said he raped her in the home. Ooh, honey, somebody please pack my bags. I'm done. I'm out of here. Nicole says, Queen, will you squeeze me in your suitcase? Yes. We've got to go at this point. This is all nefarious. Mel said, hitting like a ton of bricks. Oh, my goodness. Dre Day, I thought you were gone and bidded. I thought you had bidded us adieu, beloved. You're still hanging in here. Okay, Dre Day said, if we be honest, Cassie only testified for immunity. That's what it's given. That's what it's given. Okay, I absolutely agree with you. I don't believe she wanted to testify against him because there is no legitimate reason given her settlement with him. Exactly. And if she wanted to go to the police, she'd have done so long ago. Even when her mom called the police on her, she didn't do anything, didn't press any charges. This is all so nefarious. Dre said the conversation is good, Queen. Thank you, beloved. And so are your points that you're pulling out. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Oh, Lord, this is all so sad. I need a drink right now. And I'm not talking about my water. I need to have this full of vodka at this point. This is all nefarious. Queen Nina Star says she's getting caught in her lies. Wow. I am so disappointed right now. You all just don't even know. I am literally done. What else is coming out, Cassie? Oh, my Lord. You were already moved on to the trainer. Here comes another update. Estevao says, after Mrs. Porter's memorial service, you wrote to him that you were going home. Why had he called Kim his soulmate? What was the 11 years all about? Hold on. This is what Cassie asked him. Let me read this again to make sure I got it right. Estevao says, after Miss Porter's memorial service, because remember, she went to Kim's funeral. Mind you, she didn't like Kim. She laughed at Kim when Diddy had beat Kim once. Okay, this has been reported on several outlets. So I'm just going to say allegedly, but that's what was reported. So she says, after Miss Porter's memorial service, you wrote to him that you're going home. Why had he called Kim his soulmate? What was the 11 years all about? She was hurt. She spent 11 years with this man. And when Kim died, he said Kim was his soulmate. He literally did say that. And I'm going to tell you all something else. For those of you who've been following me since 2020, when I started this channel, you will likely remember that I talked about at some point Kim Porter's death. And I showed the funeral. And I also showed you how after everybody left that funeral, Diddy was still sitting there by himself, looking so forlorn. Y'all remember that? CB said she hated the relationship he had with Kim. Yes, and the one he had with Gina, even more so. But this had to be hurtful for her to hear that Kim was his soulmate after she's been with him for 11 whole years. Okay, then she says, hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to make sure I'm going in the reading this in the right order. I don't want to miss up anything. Okay, so after you asked him why he called Kim his soulmate and what was the 11 years all about. Ventura said yes. Estevao said that was hurtful. She said at the time, yes. Estevao says, and after that memorial service, you never saw Mr. Combs again, right? She said, I did not. Estevao said, he let you go, right? She said, I never saw him again. I don't know about letting me go. Estevao said, you got married to the love of your life, right? Ooh, honey, what do y'all think her husband is sitting up there thinking to find out that she was voluntarily having sex with Diddy while he was FaceTiming her? I would be so mad. Hold on, let me get to these latest updates. In messages, this is from CNN. In messages from early October 2018, Sean Diddy Combs told Cassie he was going to fall back and to call him when she needed him. So he was letting her go to be free. Free butterfly, fly away. I'm lost without you. Wait a second. Hold up here. Let me start over. In the text messages from early October of 2018, now remember, Kim died November the 18th, I think, of 2018, or November the 15th of 2018, I believe. This is in October, a month before. In messages from early October 2018, Sean Diddy Combs told Cassie Ventura he was going to fall back and to call him when she needed him. Ventura responded that she wasn't sure how to handle things and said in part, I'm lost without you. I'm lost without you? This is the man that you said you wanted to get away from. This is the man that you said you didn't want to be with. He made you do nefarious things. He's telling you, I'm done. I'm going to fall back. Just let me know if you need me. That sounds like he had concern for her and was willing to be a friend to her after the relationship ended. She says she wasn't sure how to handle things. I'm lost without you. Do y'all know what her husband's thinking right about now? Hearing all of this? The husband hearing all of this, thinking that he's in a whole relationship with her and she's done with the Diddy, only to hear this in court? I feel sorry for this man. Mel says, Queen, when you pillow talk, I can only imagine what she was telling Alex. Oh, I can imagine. She was telling Alex all these things that she's told the prosecution. The same thing that she said in court when the prosecution was direct examining her. It's likely the same things that she told Alex. I told you all on that day. I said, this is probably what she told her husband, and he probably is going to be in for a shock when he hears what really was going down. So anyway, goes on to say, the jury heard further messages from September of 2018 in which Sean Diddy Combs tells Cassie Ventura, I want you to love me. I need you to love me. She says, I do love you. I would just prefer not being one of your girlfriends anymore. In the messages, they both say they can't wait to see each other. The next day, she and Combs saw each other and had sex. Her now husband called her on FaceTime while she was with Combs. She confirmed this. Defense attorney Ana Esteveo suggested that she told her husband that this encounter was actually when Ventura said Combs raped her. That wasn't the evening when I was raped, Ventura said on the stand. Now they're at a break for lunch. Now they're going to lunch, honey. They left us with a whole cliffhanger. They left us with a whole cliffhanger, okay? S. Jones says, this is entertaining, and at the same time, I'm waiting to hear next witness, please, okay? Which is likely going to be either the assistant who's under the pseudonym of Mia or Don Richard. Okay, so with that all being said, beloveds, listen, y'all know what happens here. Queen Nina Star says she's a liar. I'm shocked and appalled. I'm shocked and appalled. Okay. And Nicole says, Queen, they trapped in each other's minds. She don't want Diddy in jail. I don't think she does. I don't think she does. Because she literally sat there and said, I love what we had, but that's in the past. How do you love what you had when you said all these things that he did and made you do days ago to the prosecution? Who loves that? Mel says, I can't believe her. Yeah, I can't either at this point. I'm just done. I don't know what to think at this point. This is all nefarious. King Shaw said, but the husband had to know she was getting down in the FOs. Yeah, he probably did know, but he probably thought she was forced to have all these FOs. Not that she was initiating them. This is all crazy. Juju said she shouldn't have brought Nikki into it. Maybe she would have had a better chance. Well, here's the thing, beloved. They said that the whole thing with Nikki was fake. That was fake news. Somebody falsified that and lied. Okay, so let me just reiterate that for anyone who missed it. The whole thing about the Nicki Minaj telling her, stay with Diddy, girl, there's women who died to be in your shoes. They killed to be in your shoes. That's not true. Nicki didn't say that. That was all falsified. And the guy, Matthew Russell from Inner City Press, he suggested that Nicki sue them for using her name. Whoever did that. Nicole said, I only feel sorry for Alex. Ooh, this is all crazy. King Shaw said Diddy is about to showboat in Times Square. He's going to beat that case. I don't know, but this is real crazy. Okay, TFL says, understand that the U.S. government recognizes Satanism as a religion and has protected rights for religious freedom under the Constitution. Diddy is on trial here, not Diddy's spiritual beliefs. Oh, okay. I have to agree with that. I mean, did somebody say Diddy was worshiping Satan? I mean, he probably does. I mean, given the nefarious things that I've been told by a source about the conjuring of these entities and demons and stuff. Okay, so Jay Gray said, that's not true. Remember, Nicki recorded Diddy and Meek Mill getting it in. Okay, was that really a legit recording? I never believed that. I thought it was like somebody planted it or whatever. But she definitely didn't like the fact that Meek Mill, she did allude to the fact that Meek Mill was a little zesty. Chosen One said, well, she wanted to make him happy. Great job, Cassie, for helping Diddy. Honey, this is all crazy. Okay, I'm wondering what the feds are thinking at this point. Like, where's our case going? Down the drain? Okay, anyway, guys, I'm going to break for lunch. You all get your snacks and everything and meet me back. Okay, it's 12:42. You all meet me back here at about 1:10. Okay, we'll be back at 1:10. I'm about to post the link now. Okay, so I will see you all on the next broadcast. If you don't get a notification, y'all just come back to this darn channel because I promise you I'm about to post the link right now. Okay, I love you all to life. I appreciate you all for tuning in and rocking with the queen. And, you know, we're all figuring this all out together. We're giving our opinions. We may not always disagree, but we're all here for the juice. Okay, so with that all being said, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. I will see you all at 1:10. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen,